Time flew by and 128 years had passed. In the principal's temple, Jian Wushuang was still sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. On the surface of his divine body, the power of space-time and samsara slowly rose. Under Jian Wushuang's guidance, the two powers of principles began to merge. Gradually, they began to merge. Originally, it was extremely difficult to merge the two different principles which contained different characteristics. But now, with Jian Wushuang's guidance, the two completely different powers of rules gradually began to merge. From the beginning of the merging, the two completely merged into a new whole, without any distinction between them. It's done! Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes were full of surprise and joy. From being inspired by the complete cycle of heavenly Tao in the Blood Wave Temple, he had stepped into the threshold of the integration of the two rules. In the past 300 years, he had made continuous progress, and the integration of the two principles was getting deeper and deeper. He had completely entered the threshold. Now, after 128 years of cultivation in the principles temple, he had finally perfectly integrated the space-time principles and the samsara principles. Now that the two principles were perfectly fused, Jian Wushuang could use the power of the two different principles at the same time. At the same time, he immediately sensed that after the principles were fused, he had gained another complete power of will. He had gained another complete power of will. Power of will. I had already gained one when I mastered the space-time principles. Now, because of the fusion of the two principles, I have gained another power of will. Together with the life divine power, it is equivalent to one power of will. This is equivalent to 3 powers of will. Moreover, when I use the heaven-cleaving skill, it is enough to provide me with 1 power of will. This is equivalent to 4 powers of will. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. He was extremely excited in his heart. Grasping 4 portions of the power of will was something that only void 4th level experts possessed. Although he was only an immortal saint, when he went all out, he could completely erupt with power that was not inferior to the power of the void 4th level. Moreover, this was only the basic power. An expert and a principles master did not completely rely on the power of will to display his true battle strength. He still had many other methods. For example, the use of the power of principles such as absolute arts, treasures, secret skills, and so on. Jian Wushuang was absolutely confident in these aspects. It's a pity that although I've made great progress over the years, I still haven't crossed the bottleneck in the reincarnation principles. Jian Wushuang frowned. Previously, in the Blood Wave Temple, through the complete heavenly Tao cycle, his comprehension of the reincarnation principles had also greatly improved. He had reached the limit of the immortal saint and was only 1 step away from completely mastering the reincarnation principles. However, after all these years, he had already fused the 2 principles of time and space with the samsara principles. However, he had encountered a bottleneck in the samsara principles and had not been able to take the last step. Otherwise, he would have been able to obtain another portion of the power of the will. Naturally, his strength could also be stronger. Although I have not completely mastered the samsara principles, there is no need to be too anxious. If I am anxious, it will be harder to break through. Everything will be natural. In addition, I previously obtained a samsara bead from the Light King. It is said that with the samsara bead, I can enter the samsara heaven realm to cultivate. I can also take a look at the samsara heaven realm when I have time. Jian Wushuang stood up with a smile. He walked out of the hall. After walking out of the hall, Jian Wushuang took out a message token. This message token belonged to Batsong. Jian Wushuang was now the 6th inspector of the temporal temple, under the command of Batsong. Of course, he had a message token. When he was still in the principal's temple fusing the 2 rules, Batsong had sent a message to him saying that the patrol team had been set up and was waiting for him to go. However, he was at the critical stage of fusing the 2 principles at that time. He just replied and did not pay attention to it. It had been 30 years since Batsong had sent him a message. In other words, after the patrol guards had been set up, they had been waiting for him to enter the ranks for 30 years. Now that he had fused the 2 rules, he naturally could not delay any longer. After receiving Jian Wushuang's message, Batsong immediately found him. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you have stayed in the principal's temple for 130 years. You have even delayed your appointment to the patrol unit. It seems that you have made some progress, right? Song looked at Jian Wushuang with interest. Yes, I have made some progress. Jian Wushuang did not deny it. Have you made any progress? Have you merged the two principles of space-time and reincarnation? Song asked curiously. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Really? Song was surprised. Most of the experts in the patrol team were recruited from the divine beginning realm, so the patrol team was not stationed on the Saha Island, but in a hidden place in the divine beginning realm it was covered by a restriction. After leaving the Saha Island, Song and Jian Wushuang teleported all the way to the camp of the patrol team. Master Song, an old man with a child's face and white hair, stood respectfully in front of Song and Jian Wushuang. Zhentong, this is the new inspector of the Temporal Temple, Heavenly Sword Marquis. Song introduced. Zhentong, greetings, Inspector. I've long heard of your name. Everyone in the divine beginning realm now regards you as the #1 genius. In the battle of the Heavenly Marquis, you single-handedly injured the Flame Sword Master and the Sorcerer God. It's truly shocking. Zhentong Master looked at Jian Wushuang with a dazzling light in his eyes. He kept complimenting Jian Wushuang. You're too kind. Zhentong Master. Jian Wushuang greeted him with a smile. Zhentong Master is a member of the Temporal Temple. He is responsible for many of the recruitment of the patrolling guards. From now on, you can rest assured that he will handle some simple matters in the patrolling guards. Song said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. All right, Zhentong. I've brought your patrol envoy here. I'll leave the rest to you. I'll take my leave first, Song said. Yes, sir. Zhentong was extremely respectful. Thank you, Lord Song. Jian Wushuang also expressed his gratitude. Song immediately turned around and left. Zhentong stood in front of Jian Wushuang and said, Sir, our patrol team has 10 principals masters and 100 peak saints in the camp. Would you like to meet them and greet them first? Sure. You can gather them first, Jian Wushuang instructed. In the huge camp, there were many towering palaces or lofts standing tall. At this moment, in one of the lofts, 3 figures sat upright by the side of a long table, casually eating and drinking. The two of you, it has already been so long since our patrol unit was established. Why hasn't that patrol inspector shown up yet? One of them asked. Who knows? The other middle-aged man curled his lips. I heard that this patrol envoy is the Heavenly Sword Marquis who started that shocking battle over 400 years ago. In that great battle over 400 years ago, although this Heavenly Sword Marquis is only an immortal saint, his strength is no less than that of the 3 void realms. Moreover, his methods are endless and extraordinary. In the end, he even fought a Saint Realm Master head-on and even heavily injured a Saint Realm Master. It's simply inconceivable. Seriously injuring a Saint Realm Master? You believe that? The old man whose eyes were slightly glowing with white light sneered. This Heavenly Sword Marquis is nothing more than a little fellow who got lucky. He's young and full of vigor. Although he has some talent, if one were to say that his strength is really that amazing, I wouldn't believe it even if you beat him to death. Pure Eye Master, that Heavenly Sword Marquis combat strength was also the one who heavily injured the Flame Saint Master and the Sorcerer God. Many people saw it with their own eyes, which is why it caused such a commotion. Since so many people have verified it, there's definitely nothing wrong with it, the middle-aged man said. Even if that Heavenly Sword Marquis really heavily injured the Flame Saint Master and the Sorcerer God in that battle, he must have used some special trump cards and methods. This can only mean that he had a fortuitous encounter. However, I don't believe that he can use such a trump card a second time. Master True Eyes, whose eyes were glowing with white light, did not think much of it. That's true. The middle-aged man smiled. However, ever since that battle, Heavenly Sword Marquis has made a name for himself. His current position in the Temporal Temple is extraordinary. I've even heard that even the Temple Master holds him in high regard and even favors him. The position of Inspector was appointed by the Temple Master himself. No one can say for sure what such a person will achieve in the future. We'd better behave ourselves under him and not offend him. What's there to be afraid of? No matter what, he's just an immortal saint. Do you really take him seriously? Master True Eyes was still disdainful. Hearing this, the middle-aged man and the other principal's master looked at each other. The two could only smile helplessly. At this moment, a peak saint walked in front of the Master True Eyes and the other two. He said respectfully, "My lords, Lord True Eyes has ordered me to inform the three of you that the patrol envoy has arrived at the camp. He wants you to meet him immediately." OHP, the three principals' masters beside the table were moved. "We were just talking about him. Who would have thought that he would arrive in the blink of an eye?" The middle-aged man said as he stood up. "Since the patrol envoy has arrived, the three of us should go and see him first." The other principal's master also stood up. However, Master True Eyes did not make any movements. "Master True Eyes, what are you?" The middle-aged man looked over in puzzlement. "Humph! This heavenly sword marquis made us wait for him for such a long time. Now that he has arrived, we have to go and see him with just a casual sentence? Who does he think he is?" Master True Eyes snorted coldly. "Master True Eyes, it doesn't matter whether you think highly of Heavenly Sword Marquis or not. He is still an inspector and our superior. If he wants to see us now, if we don't go, we will be disobeying orders. Although we are not at the stage of a great war, it is not a small crime to openly disobey orders in the camp." The middle-aged man said with a frown. "That's right, Master True Eyes. No matter what, let's go and see him first." The other principal's master added, "If you want to go, go ahead. I don't intend to go anyway. If he asks, just say that I'm drunk. Let's see what he can do to me." Master True Eyes said coldly. The middle-aged man and the other principal's master looked at each other helplessly. They also knew that Master True Eyes was a proud man because he was extremely talented and had grown up to be a principal's master of the three void realms. Moreover, he was very strong among the three void realms. He only believed in strength and what he saw. In his eyes, Jian Wushuang was just a little guy, and he was just an immortal saint. As a principal's master of the three void realms, he could not kowtow to an immortal saint. Therefore, when he first learned that Jian Wushuang was the patrol inspector, he felt extremely uncomfortable. Not to mention that Jian Wushuang had kept them waiting. Now, he was even more dissatisfied with Jian Wushuang. "In that case, the two of us will leave first." The middle-aged man and the other principal's master stopped persuading him and immediately went to see Jian Wushuang. In the open space in the center of the camp, the experts of the patrol team had already lined up in an orderly manner. There were 100 peak saints in a row of 20, forming a total of 5 rows. The principal's masters were standing at the front. At this moment, both the immortal saints and the principal's masters were staring at Jian Wushuang, who was standing at the front with different gazes. At the same time, many peak saints were secretly discussing among themselves. "He is Heavenly Sword Marquis? Yes, that's him. He is the undisputed #1 expert on the true saint list and the strongest immortal saint in the history of the divine beginning realm. It is said that in the battle more than 400 years ago, he fought head-on with many principals masters in the saint realm without being at a disadvantage. In the end, he even fought with the masters of the saint realm. So many top experts of the 3 saint realms couldn't do anything to him. Heavenly Sword Marquis, he's my idol. I wish I could be half as powerful as him. Half? I'll be satisfied as long as I have 1/10 of his strength." The immortal saints chatted and did not conceal their admiration for Jian Wushuang at all. Indeed, the principal's masters might feel a little uncomfortable after hearing about Jian Wushuang's battle record, because the principal's masters had always been far above the immortal saints since ancient times. However, Jian Wushuang, the immortal saint, was an exception. Not only could he stand on equal footing with them, but he was even stronger than many principals masters. However, the immortal saints in the divine beginning realm were not dissatisfied with Jian Wushuang at all. They even worshipped him more and more, feeling that Jian Wushuang had helped them. The immortal saint. This made the principals masters not dare to look down on them in the future. Jian Wushuang crossed his hands behind his back and looked indifferently at the experts in front of him. Suddenly, his expression changed. He asked, "Master True Eyes, shouldn't the patrol team be composed of 10 principals masters and 100 peak saints? They've seen the 100 peak saints. But why do I only see 9 principals masters and one more random guy? Well, Master True Eyes looked at the principals masters around him and frowned. Inspector, I've asked my men to inform them. Everyone should have arrived by now, but I don't know why he didn't come. I'll send a message to him now. Master True Eyes was about to send a message. The middle-aged man who had been drinking with Master True Eyes stood up and said, Inspector, Master True Eyes is drunk. Oh, drunk. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and found it funny. Although good wine could make people drunk, in the divine beginning realm, any cultivator who was slightly stronger could freely control their drunkenness, especially when they had reached the level of Principal's Master. With a thought, they could make their drunkenness disappear completely. The bottle of wine was enough to make a Principal's Master lose consciousness completely. He did not even know if there was such wine in the divine beginning realm, so how could Master True Eyes be drunk? Even if he was really drunk, it was probably on purpose. Inspector, this Master True Eyes is too presumptuous. I'll bring him here now, said Master True Eyes. No need. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Since this Master True Eyes is unwilling to come to see me, I'll go and see him. You're willing to see him, sir? Master True Eyes was stunned. Lead the way, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Master True Eyes said nothing more and led Jian Wushuang to the attic where Master True Eyes was. As for the principals masters of the patrol team, they looked at each other and immediately followed. Let's go and take a look. The Master True Eyes doesn't listen to the order of the patrol master. This is going to be a good show. If we're the patrol master, I would definitely teach him a good lesson. While discussing among themselves, the Peak Saints also followed suit. Soon, Jian Wushuang arrived in front of the attic. Patrol Master, this is the residence of the clear-eyed master. He should be in the attic now, Master True Eyes said. Jian Wushuang glanced at the attic and sensed the aura of Master True Eyes. He immediately said coldly, Master True Eyes, come out. Do you want me to invite you in personally? Who is it? A dissatisfied voice sounded, and then Master True Eyes walked out of the attic with a red face and a smell of alcohol. But on the surface, it seemed that Master True Eyes was really drunk. True Eyes, how dare you ignore the order of the inspector? He stared at Master True Eyes coldly and shouted, Inspector? Who? Him. Master True Eyes looked like a drunkard. He glanced at Jian Wushuang from the corner of his eyes and then burst into laughter. Are you kidding me? Isn't he just a young boy at the Saint Realm? How dare you call him an inspector? I don't think I'm drunk. You're drunk. How dare you? How dare you disrespect an inspector? Master True Eyes could not help but shout angrily. In front of everyone in the patrol team, he directly told them that Jian Wushuang was merely an immortal saint. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that this Master True Eyes was deliberately pretending to be crazy, but in fact, he was trying to embarrass Jian Wushuang. Master True Eyes, right? Jian Wushuang looked at the Master True Eyes with his hands behind his back. It's me, Master True Eyes replied with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Do you know your identity? Jian Wushuang asked indifferently. Of course I do. I'm the captain of the 6th patrol team of the Temporal Temple, Master True Eyes said. Then do you know who I am? Jian Wushuang asked again. You? Didn't I tell you that you're just a young boy at the Saint Realm? Yes, you're just an immortal saint. How dare you talk to me? Get out of my way. Master True Eyes scolded. Good, you're really brave. Now that you know your identity, it's easy to deal with you. Now, as the 6th inspector of the Temporal Temple, I order you, Master True Eyes, to disobey my orders. Everyone in the camp is publicly disobeying my orders. Immediately suppress and send you to the 8th level of the boundless prison. You'll never be able to get out, Jian Wushuang said coldly. What? Jian Wushuang's words shocked everyone around him. The boundless prison was a place used by the Temporal Temple to lock up experts. It was also very famous in the divine beginning realm. There were 9 levels in the boundless prison. Each level had some unbearable torture that could even make people break down. It was extremely terrifying. The 8th level of the boundless prison was only inferior to the 9th level, This was definitely a place that made many people tremble in fear. Now, Jian Wushuang had given the order to lock the Master True Eyes directly into the 8th level of the boundless prison. However, Jian Wushuang was now an inspector, and the Master True Eyes was his subordinate. Jian Wushuang indeed had the right to do so, and he had a reason for it. The Master True Eyes openly disobeyed orders. Just this alone, even if Jian Wushuang wanted to kill him, it was reasonable. Although the Master True Eyes only wanted to show off to Jian Wushuang, he did not really want to disobey orders. However, he did do so. Heavenly Sword Marquis, what did you just say? You want to suppress me and put me in the boundless prison. The Master True Eyes was instantly enraged. His eyes were filled with raging anger. As for his drunkenness, it had all dissipated. What? Are you clear-headed now? Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. Does no one understand what I said? Take him down. The surrounding principal's masters were at a loss. Even Master True Eyes was stunned, but he did not come forward immediately. Let's see who dares. Master True Eyes looked around. His aura of the 3 void realms swept across the area. In the end, he looked at Jian Wushuang again. Heavenly Sword Marquis, aren't you lucky enough to be favored by the Temple Master? Now that the Temple Master has gone to the universe battlefield, how dare you be so arrogant? And you want to suppress me in the boundless prison? Haha, what a joke! Pure I, have been in the Temporal Temple for so many years and have made great contributions. Even Temple Master Bai Xing and Lord Batsong have to think twice before suppressing me. Who do you think you are? The voice of Master True Eyes shook the sky, showing no respect for Jian Wushuang. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang smiled. Master True Eyes, you think too highly of yourself. Jian Wushuang sneered at Pure Eye Master. It's true that you've made great contributions to the Temporal Temple, but that doesn't mean that you can act recklessly. I'm the 6th inspector of the Temporal Temple, and you're my subordinate. I'm going to send you to the boundless prison. Even Temple Master Bai Xing and Lord Batsong won't say a word. If you don't believe me, you can send a message to them right now. See if they'll respond to you. Impossible! Master True Eyes was still confident. However, when he sent a message to Temple Master Bai Xing and Batsong, but they did not reply to him, Master True Eyes panicked. He finally realized that he was wrong. He had thought that his position in the Temporal Temple would not be lower than Jian Wushuang, the Immortal Saint. However, the truth was that Jian Wushuang's status in the Temporal Temple was extraordinary. Even the Temporal Temple Master valued and favored him, and many people could already see that the Temporal Temple Master wanted to groom Jian Wushuang as his successor. Moreover, with Jian Wushuang's talent, it would not take long for him to become the top expert in the divine beginning realm. It was uncertain whether he could become a ruler, but it was definitely not difficult for him to reach the level of the 6 void realms. Such a figure was not someone that he could compare with. Now, he had already sent a message to Temple Master Bai Xing and Batsong, but they had ignored him. Obviously, Temple Master Bai Xing and Batsong were on Jian Wushuang's side, and had acquiesced in Jian Wushuang's punishment of suppressing him in the boundless prison. Master True Eyes, I know you are not convinced by your strength, so I can give you a fair chance to avoid being accused of using my power to suppress others. Jian Wushuang suddenly said. What chance? Master True Eyes immediately looked at him. In the divine beginning realm, strength is always respected. The reason why you are not convinced by me is because I am only an immortal saint. Therefore, I am giving you a chance to fight me one-on-one, and I am standing here. If you can make me take a step back, I will lose. If I lose, not only will I not send you to the boundless prison, but I will also never order you to do anything in the patrol team in the future. In other words, you can do whatever you want in the future, Jian Wushuang said. Really? Master True Eyes stared at Jian Wushuang with a bright light in his eyes. The others looked at each other with rich expressions. Of course I meant what I said. But if you lose, you'll have to accept my punishment, Jian Wushuang said. Sure. If you win, I won't hesitate to kill me, not to mention locking me in the boundless prison. Master True Eyes clenched his hands with excitement. He did not think that he would lose. After all, he was a genuine expert of the 3rd realm of the void. He was also an extremely powerful existence among the 3 realms of the void. Even if he fought against the 4 realms of the void, he could barely hold them off. As for Jian Wushuang, although his battle record from the battle 400 years ago was shocking, everyone knew that there were some special factors behind Jian Wushuang's achievements. As for Jian Wushuang's own battle strength, at most, he was only at the threshold of the 3 realms of void. Even if Jian Wushuang's strength had improved over the past 400 years, as long as he did not break through to become an immortal saint, he should not be that strong. The Master True Eyes estimated that Jian Wushuang's current strength was at the peak of the 3 realms of void, and his strength was about the same as his. However, what Jian Wushuang said just now was that as long as Jian Wushuang was pushed back even 1 step, he would win. He was not confident that he could defeat Jian Wushuang in a head-on fight, but he was very confident that he could push Jian Wushuang back only 1 step. After Jian Wushuang and Master True Eyes confirmed that they were going to fight, the experts of the patrol team retreated to the surrounding area to make room for Jian Wushuang and Master True Eyes. At the same time, the people of the patrol team began to discuss among themselves. Who do you think will win? TM not sure. Over 400 years ago, the patrol master's battle strength was already very strong. With his talent, it's impossible that he hasn't made any progress over the years. In terms of strength, the patrol master is probably stronger. However, the patrol master said that as long as the clear-eyed master can force him back a step, he will lose. It's hard to say. Yes, in terms of overall strength, the inspector is definitely stronger. After all, it is said that the inspector of the temporal temple is in the 4th realm of the void. Since he is able to become an inspector, even if he does not have the combat strength of the 4th realm of the void, he should be about the same. However, the Master True Eyes does not want to defeat the inspector head-on. He just needs to think of a way to force the inspector to take a step back. It's hard to say who will win this battle. However, it was proposed by the inspector, so he should be confident. The crowd discussed among themselves. Most of the immortal saints thought that Jian Wushuang would win. After all, these immortal saints had almost blindly worshipped Jian Wushuang. Not to mention that Jian Wushuang was only facing the Master True Eyes of the 3rd Void Realm. Even if Jian Wushuang was facing a master in the 4th or even the 5th realm of the void, they still felt that Jian Wushuang could win. As for the principal's masters, they also thought that Jian Wushuang might be stronger, but the result of this battle was still hard to say. In the center of the camp, there was already a huge battlefield. On both sides of the battlefield, Jian Wushuang and the Master True Eyes were facing each other from a distance. Clear Eye Master, you go first. Jian Wushuang looked at Master True Eyes indifferently without any pressure. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you asked for it. Master True Eyes smiled coldly. His eyes toured cold, and a strong aura swept out from his body. This aura stirred the world, and in an instant, it formed a huge storm. This Heavenly Sword Marquis, to be able to produce such a battle record over 400 years ago, he definitely has some strength. Unfortunately, he is too arrogant, Master True Eyes muttered. I won't tangle with him any longer. I'll directly use my strongest attack. As long as I can force him to retreat, this battle will be my victory. Master True Eyes made up his mind. In an instant, endless divine power surged up and began to gather at an astonishing speed. At the same time, a pair of pitch-black gloves appeared on Master True Eyes' hands. Large amounts of space-time principle energy gathered on the gloves. There's another principle of space-time. It should be the principles of gold. Jian Wushuang stood where he was and looked at Master True Eyes calmly. He could feel that besides the power of the principles of space-time, there were also the principles of gold in Master True Eyes' hand. Gold was extremely strong and invincible. Under normal circumstances, experts who comprehended the principles of gold were very good at attacking power. And this Master True Eyes had already completely grasped the principles of gold. Although these two principles had yet to completely fuse together, gold and spacetime could still achieve the basic superposition of power. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Today, I'll let you see the strongest move I've created with 1,000,000 years of effort. The gold-splitting palm. Boom! The world suddenly shook. The power of gold and spacetime gathered in Master True Eyes' palm instantly exploded out. carrying a total of 3 portions of his willpower. A suffocating power suddenly appeared in the world. It was a huge golden handprint. This golden handprint contained both the power of gold and the power of spacetime. The power of gold and the power of spacetime complemented each other. Not only was the power of the attack extremely powerful, but its speed was also astonishing. The huge golden handprint pressed down on Jian Wushuang in all directions. Although he had not come close, Jian Wushuang had already felt an extraordinary pressure. The surrounding spectators were all shocked when they saw the golden handprint. In their opinion, the Master True Eyes move could probably be compared to some experts of the Void Fourth Realm in terms of power alone. The inspector is overconfident this time. TM afraid only experts of the Void Fourth Realm can withstand such a powerful move head-on and not take a step back. This Master True Eyes is really powerful. Many people were secretly amazed. However, Jian Wushuang's expression did not change at all when he saw the golden handprint attacking him. When the golden handprint appeared in front of Jian Wushuang slowly reached out and grabbed the hilt of the Blood Mountain sword. In his body, the life divine power was activated instantly, and the 2 parts of the willpower that Jian Wushuang had grasped suddenly erupted at this moment. Wushuang Sword Manual. Xianxia. Whoosh! The Blood Mountain sword suddenly unsheathed, and a scarlet sword light flashed in the void like blood-red lightning and directly struck the golden handprint. A terrifying power burst out from the scarlet sword light, almost instantly splitting the golden handprint into 2 halves. Then the sword light crazily swept in all directions, crushing the golden handprint into pieces. It turned into a vast amount of divine power and disappeared from the world. After the power subsided, Jian Wushuang still stood there and did not take a step back. As for Master True Eyes, he staggered backward. After a long while, Master True Eyes regained his balance. How is this possible? Master True Eyes looked up at Jian Wushuang again, his face full of shock and disbelief. He had never expected that his strongest attack could not force Jian Wushuang to take a step back. After all, he had comprehended the principles of gold, which was very good at attacking. His sword attack just now. Master True Eyes recalled the sword attack that Jian Wushuang had just performed. In that sword attack, he clearly felt 2 completely different powers of principles. However, these 2 powers of principles were perfectly fused together, and they were completely indistinguishable from each other. The fusion of principles? Heavenly Sword Marquis has already fused 2 principles? Moreover, he has clearly mastered 3 portions of the power of his will. In terms of basic divine power, he, an immortal saint, is actually stronger than me. The Master True Eyes' eyes widened. His heart was filled with shock. He did not know that although Jian Wushuang was only an immortal saint, his basic divine power was stronger than that of an ordinary principles master because of his perfect life level. In addition, the secret skills he had cultivated had greatly increased his power. Since both sides had mastered 3 parts of the power of will, his basic power naturally had a great advantage. In terms of ultimate moves, although the move Pure Eye Master used was the strongest move he had created, Jian Wushuang's first move of Xixiang was also the strongest move in the Peerless Sword Manual. Moreover, he had cultivated with Temporal Temple Master for 300 years. His swordsmanship has already stepped into the 3rd level of derivation of all things. In swordsmanship, the 7 sword styles of the Peerless Swordsmanship have all been elevated to the level of Principles Master. In other words, in terms of the power of the absolute art, Jian Wushuang's Xixiang move was not much different from the giant golden handprint of the Master True Eyes. However, what really determined the huge gap between the 2 sides, or is it the fusion of the 2 principles in Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship? After the 2 principles were combined, not only would there be an additional power of will, but the power of the fusion of the 2 different principles would also be much stronger than just superimposing the 2 principles. For example, in the Blood Wave realm, when Light King fought with Di Hao barely superimposed the 2 principles, while Light King perfectly combined the 2 principles. As a result, the 2 sides were on completely different levels. Now that Jian Wushuang had used the power of the fusion of the 2 principles, of course, he was much stronger than Master True Eyes, who had only superimposed the spacetime principles and the gold principles. Therefore, in this collision, Master True Eyes was completely defeated. Because of the huge difference in power between them, Jian Wushuang did not suffer much impact, so he did not take a step back. Master True Eyes, as a principles master in the 3 realms of the void, you can't only have this much strength, right? Show me all your other skills. Jian Wushuang looked at Master True Eyes indifferently. Heavenly Sword Marquis, don't be happy too early. Master True Eyes gritted his teeth, but his mind was racing. Heavenly Sword Marquis has also mastered 3 parts of the power of will, and his basic strength is stronger than mine. The key is that he has fused 2 principles. I will definitely be crushed by him in a head-on collision. Therefore, I can only rely on speed and movement skills to catch him off guard and force him to retreat. At the thought of this, Master True Eyes' figure instantly flickered, and dense golden and space-time principles burst out at the same time. Wang Wang, a layer of dazzling golden light suddenly appeared in the world. This golden light was incomparably dazzling, and for a time, it completely blocked the line of sight of the many experts present. After the golden light dissipated, everyone looked again and discovered that in the center of the battlefield, a total of 8 figures had appeared out of nowhere. These 8 figures were none other than the 8 Master True Eyes whose bodies were covered in a layer of golden light. In addition to the original Pure Eye Master, a total of 9 Master True Eyes had appeared in front of everyone. These 9 Master True Eyes, regardless of whether they were seen with the naked eye or sensed with their soul energy, were all exactly the same. There was no difference at all. 9 Master True Eyes? Why do they look exactly the same? Is this a space-time illusion body or a clone secret technique? The many experts watching the battle looked at the 9 Master True Eyes who had appeared in the middle of the battlefield in astonishment. The 9 Principles Masters on the battlefield immediately saw through it. This should be a time-space conversion, transforming one area of time-space into 9 areas of time-space at the same time. Master True Eyes said solemnly. In the center of the battlefield, the 9 Master True Eyes maintained the same expression as they stared at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. Heavenly Sword Marquis is indeed powerful, but he hasn't cultivated for long and hasn't mastered the space-time principles for a long time. His application of the space-time principles must be very crude. Now, I've created 8 phantoms with the space-time conversion and my original body. He won't be able to distinguish the 9 phantoms at the same time. As long as he can't distinguish them, he won't be able to resist them. Master True Eyes sneered. The next moment, the 9 Master True Eyes attacked at the same time. Whoosh! 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 The 9 Master True Eyes were incredibly fast. They attacked Jian Wushuang from all directions at the same time. Their expressions and actions were exactly the same. Even the power of the gold and space-time principles in their hands were exactly the same. The 9 Master True Eyes reached out their hands at the same time. The gold and space-time principles in their hands overlapped each other. In an instant, a golden light flashed and rushed toward Jian Wushuang like a golden sun. The key was that the 9 Master True Eyes attacked at the same time. It was 9 giant golden suns. His aura and attack power are exactly the same. He definitely can't block this attack. The Master True Eyes was very confident. However, Jian Wushuang turned around and looked at the original body of Master True Eyes with a mocking look. What? Master True Eyes was shocked. Jian Wushuang had already struck. Whoosh! The swift and fierce strike, which also contained the power of the 2 principles of space-time and reincarnation, instantly struck Master True Eyes' golden palm. In an instant, the golden light dimmed, and Master True Eyes' entire palm was cut off. A majestic power hit Master True Eyes' body, causing him to tremble violently and retreat in a sorry state. Impossible! This is impossible! After Master True Eyes steadied himself, he let out a few roars. His eyes were wide open as he looked at Jian Wushuang. How can you see through my illusionary body formed by space-time transformation? Unless your application of space-time principles is better than mine. But how is this possible? Master True Eyes did not believe it. He had cultivated for millions of years and had long mastered the space-time principles. He had always been quite skilled in the application of space-time principles. Although he was still at the level of space-time transformation, however, He had already mastered the use of spacetime conversion very well. How long had Jian Wushuang mastered the spacetime principles? It had only been a few hundred years. In a few hundred years, Jian Wushuang's use of the spacetime principles had already surpassed his. Of course, he could not believe it. Master True Eyes, I've said that you think too highly of yourself. Similarly, you underestimate me too much. You think that everyone has mastered the spacetime principles for hundreds of thousands of years like you, but in the end, your use of the spacetime principles is still at this level. Jian Wushuang sneered. Then his figure suddenly froze. Buzz, buzz, the same scene appeared. One after another, illusions formed by spacetime conversion appeared on the battlefield. At a glance, there were a total of 9 figures. Master True Eyes, you just used spacetime conversion. Now come and see my spacetime conversion. I wonder if you can find my original body from these illusions. Jian Wushuang smiled. Then the 9 figures moved directly. The 9 Jian Wushuang flew rapidly in the battlefield, but they did not intend to attack at once. Master True Eyes stared at the 9 figures around him. He tried his best to find Jian Wushuang's original body, but he soon found that he could not find any flaws. The 9 Jian Wushuang were in his perception. They were exactly the same. Is his use of the spacetime principles better than mine? Master True Eyes could not help thinking. But suddenly, a chill appeared behind him without any warning. Oh no! Master True Eyes' expression changed drastically, but by the time he reacted, it was already too late. Buzz! The cold sword tip carried a shocking power and easily pierced through the surface of Master True Eyes' body. However, just as the sword tip was about to enter the divine body of Master True Eyes, it suddenly stopped. Jian Wushuang had appeared behind the Master True Eyes at some point. He held the sword in one hand and said coldly, Master True Eyes, you've lost. Lost, lost. Master True Eyes' eyes widened in disbelief. However, he quickly calmed down. He turned around and stared at Jian Wushuang. Shadowless escape art? It's shadowless escape art. Yes, shadowless escape art. Jian Wushuang smiled. The shadowless escape art of the Bloodblade Master was one of Jian Wushuang's trump cards. More than 400 years ago, his mastery of the shadowless escape art was still in the initial stage, and he could not hide it from the sole perception of the principal's master. However, after years of dedicated cultivation, Jian Wushuang's strength had soared, especially his use of the spacetime principles. Naturally, his mastery of the shadowless escape art had also improved. Now, his mastery of shadowless escape art had reached the profound realm. Although he was far from the exceptional realm, which was the peak of the Bloodblade Master, he was still very terrifying. At the very least, he was an ordinary principal's master. He could not sense his existence at all. Even an expert of the 3 realms of the void like Master True Eyes could not detect him. To understand now, your use of the principles of spacetime is not much better than mine. At most, you are just as good as me. At most, you are slightly better than me. That's why you can see through my illusory body formed by spacetime conversion. The reason why I can't see through your illusory body formed by spacetime conversion is that the 9 figures are all illusory bodies, and your original body has already used the shadowless escape art to hide in the surroundings. Of course, I can't see through it, Master True Eyes said. You're right. Unfortunately, it's too late, Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. Master True Eyes was right. Although his use of the spacetime principles had improved tremendously over the past 400 years, it was not so far beyond Master True Eyes. The reason why Master True Eyes could not see his original body was because he had already used the shadowless escape art. They've lost this battle. I accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Lord Inspector, no matter what you do to me, I will accept it. Although Master True Eyes was still holding his hands tightly, his body was still trembling, but there was no anger in his heart. He had indeed lost this battle. He had lost too miserably because he could not force Jian Wushuang to take half a step back. He had used all his skills, whether it was the direct power or the use of the spacetime principles, but he had been crushed by Jian Wushuang, especially the last 9 illusions. He felt that he had been completely fooled by Jian Wushuang. There was nothing to say. Jian Wushuang had completely defeated him with his strength. Master True Eyes had lost his temper. He stood there dispiritedly, waiting for Jian Wushuang to punish him. But at this time, the others came up to plead for Master True Eyes. Inspector, although Master True Eyes offended you, it was only a spur of the moment. Moreover, Master True Eyes has contributed a lot to our temporal temple, so I hope you can be lenient with him, Master True Eyes said first. Yes, although the Master True Eyes has done it before, he didn't deliberately disobey orders. I hope you can show mercy, the middle-aged man who had been drinking with the Master True Eyes said. Inspector, the other principal's masters also pleaded for mercy. It was obvious that although the Master True Eyes was a little arrogant, he had a good reputation and good relationships with other experts of the same level. The reason why he offended Jian Wushuang this time was mainly because he was not convinced that Jian Wushuang was only a Saint Realm expert. In his heart, he had no intention of disobeying orders. Looking at the principal's masters who were pleading with him, Jian Wushuang looked indifferent, but he smiled in his heart. He knew what Master True Eyes was thinking. The reason why he fought with Master True Eyes and even said that he would win as long as Master True Eyes could force him to retreat was to intimidate the experts present. He knew very well that he was only an immortal saint. Although he had an amazing battle record from more than 400 years ago, there were many reasons for that. It did not prove his true strength, so it was difficult to convince the public. Jian Wushuang was well aware of this. He had long guessed that he would encounter some trouble if he took the position of inspector and successfully led the patrol team. Therefore, he was mentally prepared. The appearance of the Master True Eyes was within his expectations. As for the Master True Eyes himself, Jian Wushuang was not too angry. On the contrary, he used the Master True Eyes to intimidate everyone in the patrol team. He believed that after today's battle, no one in the patrol team would dare to disobey his orders. After all, strength was the most important thing in this world, and he had proved it to everyone with his strength. He was qualified to be an inspector. As for the final punishment of Master True Eyes, Jian Wushuang had already made a decision in his heart. Master True Eyes, because it's my first time in the camp and I haven't really taken up the position of an inspector, your disobedience is not considered as much. However, there is no doubt that you have offended me. I originally planned to send you to the 8th level of the boundless prison for hundreds of thousands of years to appease my hatred. However, since Zhen Tong and the others have pleaded on your behalf, I can spare your life. Men, send Master True Eyes to the 5th level of the boundless prison and imprison him for 100 years, Jian Wushuang ordered. Hearing Jian Wushuang's punishment, the surrounding principal's masters heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Although Jian Wushuang still punished Master True Eyes in the end, the punishment was obviously much lighter than what he had previously said. Previously, Jian Wushuang had planned to lock Master True Eyes up in the 8th level of the boundless prison. The 8th level was a place that made many principals' masters tremble in fear, and it had been more than 100,000 years. But now, it was only the 5th level of the boundless prison. The torture of the 5th level was already tolerable for ordinary principals' masters, not to mention that only 100 years had passed in the blink of an eye for Master True Eyes. Jian Wushuang's punishment was only 1 or 2 punishments for Master True Eyes, which was already very generous. True Eyes, why don't you hurry up and thank the patrol master for his mercy? Zhen Tong said. Master True Eyes also reacted. He looked at Jian Wushuang with a complicated expression and then bowed respectfully. Clear Eye, thank you, Inspector. Get up, Master True Eyes. I hope you can reflect on yourself in the boundless prison. Think carefully and come back to me in 100 years, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. Master True Eyes was no longer arrogant. He was only respectful. Soon Master True Eyes left. Jian Wushuang had met with many experts of the patrol team. The key was that he had shocked everyone with his absolute strength. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied with the result. Then Jian Wushuang ordered everyone to leave. The immortal saints of the patrol team were still talking about the battle when they left. Our inspector is too strong. Yes, I heard that the Master True Eyes is a very strong principal's master. But in front of the inspector, he can't fight back at all. The gap is too big. Don't forget that the inspector is just an immortal saint, who is at the same realm as us. Tut tut. The immortal saint is so powerful. It's incredible. Everyone was amazed. After this meeting, the experts of the patrol team, from the principal's masters to the immortal saints, were completely convinced by Jian Wushuang. In the future, Jian Wushuang would not be hindered in leading this patrol team. In the center of the camp, there was a towering palace, which was where Jian Wushuang lived. At this moment, Jian Wushuang was sitting in front of a table, holding a token in his hand. He was communicating with Batsong. Lord Batsong, don't worry. I only imprisoned the Master True Eyes in the 5th level of the boundless prison for 100 years. Jian Wushuang said. Well, I knew you could handle it properly. I didn't pay attention to him when he sent me a message, Batsong said with a smile. By the way, since True Eyes has been sent to the boundless prison, your patrol team will lose a principal's master. I'll get someone to replace him immediately. Immediately? Jian Wushuang frowned. Lord Batsong, the Master True Eyes will only be imprisoned in the boundless prison for 100 years. There's no need for another principal's master to come, right? If your patrol team is fine, there's no need to be anxious. But now, Heavenly Sword Marquis, your patrol team will have a mission soon. Since there's a mission, it's natural to ensure the integrity of the patrol team, Batsong said. There is a mission so soon? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. As far as he knew, the patrol team was responsible for fighting for the Temporal Temple. However, because the Temporal Temple was one of the 3 freedom alliances in the Divine Beginning Realm, it was an absolute overlord, and few people dared to provoke it. Naturally, there was less competition. Usually, the patrol team did not have too many things to do, and they would only go on missions occasionally. Now that he had just taken over as the patrol inspector, he immediately had a mission. Could only be said that he was very lucky. Yes, there is a mission. Moreover, this mission is probably not easy. So I have asked the Sword Dragon Master to rush over as quickly as possible. He should be able to reach you in less than half a day. You can gather the patrol guards now and set off as soon as the Sword Dragon Master arrives. Batsong said. Where is the mission location? Jian Wushuang asked. It's in the 2nd heaven. As for the details of the mission, I'll explain it to you later. You can gather the guards now, Batsong instructed. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. As soon as Jian Wushuang gave the order, the experts of the patrol team gathered again. The 100 superior saints and the 9 principals masters soon arrived. Sword Dragon Master was an ancient and powerful principals master. In terms of strength, he was considered very strong among the 3 void realms. He could take over the position of Master True Eyes. The combat strength of the patrol team did not weaken at all. After Sword Dragon Master arrived, Jian Wushuang ordered everyone to head to the 2nd heaven. On the way to the 2nd heaven, Batsong also told Jian Wushuang the details of the mission. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you are going to the Amethyst Fog Sea of the 2nd heaven. Long ago, the Amethyst Fog Sea was the base of the Amethyst Demon Sect, the overlord of the 2nd heaven. At its peak, the Amethyst Demon Sect was comparable to the Octagonal Heaven Sect of the 3rd heaven, or even stronger. However, for some unknown reason, the Amethyst Demon Sect provoked the Flame Saint Realm, one of the 3 great saint realms. Under the leadership of the Flame Saint Master, the Amethyst Demon Sect was completely annihilated, and the entire sect was reduced to a wasteland. Almost all of the experts of the Amethyst Demon Sect were killed. However, although the Amethyst Demon Sect was annihilated, the various resources and treasures that the Amethyst Demon Sect had accumulated over the years were not obtained by the Flame Saint Realm. Instead, they completely disappeared with the destruction of the Amethyst Demon Sect. Pausing for a while, Batsong continued. There are rumors that the Amethyst Demon Sect's many treasures were taken away by the surviving experts of the Amethyst Demon Sect. However, there are also rumors that the treasure of the Amethyst Demon Sect is hidden in the Amethyst Fog Sea. It's just that it's too secretive, and no one has found it yet. Because of this rumor, experts often venture into the Amethyst Fog Sea in the Divine Beginning Realm to try their luck. However, they haven't found much. But not long ago, a few immortal saints from the Temporal Temple obtained a special token by chance. They recognized that it was related to the destroyed Amethyst Demon Sect, so they took it to the Amethyst Fog Sea. Unexpectedly, They found a secret realm hidden in the amethyst fog sea. Mystic realm of heaven and earth? Jian Wushuang was stunned. The resources and wealth accumulated by the amethyst demon's doctrine over a long period of time have never been found, and now the several immortal saints of the temporal temple have found a secret realm of heaven and earth in the amethyst fog sea through the keepsake. This secret realm of heaven and earth is probably where the treasure is. What happened after that? Did the immortal saints from the temporal temple enter the secret land of heaven and earth to investigate? Jian Wushuang asked. Not yet, Batsong said. Although they found the secret realm, it would take at least 2 or 3 principles masters to open it. They are just immortal saints, so how could they do that? So they sent a message to the temporal temple at once. But when the temple was about to send principles masters to open the secret realm, the major force around the amethyst fog sea, Xiaoyao Mansion, got the news from God knows where. They sent a large number of experts and occupied the secret realm. They also chased away the little guys from the temporal temple. Xiaoyao Mansion? That name sounds familiar, Jian Wushuang murmured. Suddenly, his expression changed. I remember. This Master Xiaoyao. He came from Xiaoyao Mansion. And I heard from Temple Master Bai Xing that Xiaoyao Mansion is a powerful overlord in the second heaven. Yes, Xiaoyao Mansion is a top force in the entire divine beginning realm. Since the Amethyst Demon Sect was destroyed, the territory around the Amethyst Fog Sea has been under its control. No one from the sects in the second heaven dares to provoke Xiaoyao Mansion, so it's considered a great overlord. However, Xiaoyao Mansion has offended the temporal temple this time. It's not tactful, Batsong said coldly. Jian Wushuang also nodded secretly. Although the carefree mansion was an overlord in the second heaven, it was nothing compared to the temporal temple. Usually, the temporal temple kept a low profile and would not take the initiative to provoke other sects. However, it was not something that ordinary sects in the divine beginning realm could easily provoke. For example, this time, the carefree mansion took the initiative to provoke the temporal temple. It was indeed overestimating itself. Heavenly Sword Marquis, the immortal saints of the temporal temple are waiting around the amethyst fog sea. You will lead the patrol team to take back the secret realm of heaven and earth. If the people of the carefree mansion know what's good for them, then let's teach them a lesson. The temporal temple is not a place that they can provoke, Batsong said in a deep voice. See, Jian Wushuang understood. The temporal temple did not seek hegemony, but it did not mean that it was easy to bully. On the contrary, the temporal temple was never at a disadvantage. In the Bloodwave realm, when Temple Master Bai Xing learned that the 3 saint realms had attacked Jian Wushuang, he immediately thought of ways to kill the principles masters of the 3 saint realms in the universe battlefield. This time, the carefree mansion had become the target of the temporal temple. Under Jian Wushuang's personal leadership, the 6th patrol team arrived at the second heaven in the shortest time. When they arrived at the border of the Amethyst Fog Sea, the temporal temple was the first to discover that several immortal saints from the mystic realm of heaven and earth were already waiting for them. The person in the lead happened to be an acquaintance of Jian Wushuang. Ha ha! Brother Heavenly Marquis! A hearty laughter rang out as a burly man in red armor walked up to Jian Wushuang. You, long time no see. Jian Wushuang also revealed a smile. You have to call me Inspector now. Another person walked over. Duan Lang, you're here too? Jian Wushuang looked at him. Duan Lang and Yu had gone to the Bloodwave world with him before, so they had a good relationship, especially Duan Lang. When Jian Wushuang had just received the quota to go to the Bloodwave realm, Duan Lang had fought with Jian Wushuang because he was not convinced. Originally, both Duan Lang and Yu were not far from Jian Wushuang. However, after the trip to the Bloodwave realm, Jian Wushuang had become a top expert in the divine beginning realm. He was well known throughout the world and was extremely famous. Soon after arriving at the Spacetime Temple, he was appointed as an inspector. Yu and Duan Lang were also aware of this news. Di Hao, Qian Hongzi and Fei Xue. Where are they? Jian Wushuang asked with a smile. Among the 6 people who went to the Bloodwave Temple with us. Di Hao has become a principles master. Although you haven't made a breakthrough, your battle strength is stronger than Di Hao's. You're not on the same level as us. As for Qian Hongzi and Fei Xue, Qian Hongzi has been in closed-door cultivation since he came back from the Blood Wave realm. He hasn't come out until now. Fei Xue has gone out alone. You and one are fine. We just happened to get a token from the Amethyst Demon Sect, so we came here to take a look. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing, Duan Lang said. As for the people of the Carefree Mansion, although they have occupied the secret realm, it is very stable. If I'm not wrong, to open the secret realm, not only do they need the help of several Principles Masters, but they also need the help of the token. Although there are enough Principles Masters in the Carefree Mansion, they cannot enter the secret realm without the token. That is to say, no one has been able to enter the mystic realm of heaven and earth until now. Even if it's really the resources and wealth accumulated by the Amethyst Demon Sect over a long period of time, no one has been able to get into it. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. That's right. Duan Lang nodded. Haha, that's great. The Carefree Mansion thought that they would chase you away and then immediately enter the mystic realm of heaven and earth to search for treasures. By then, even if the experts of the Temporal Temple arrived, they would have already looted all the treasures in the mystic realm of heaven and earth, so they could completely deny it. It's a good idea, but unfortunately, without the token, they can't enter the mystic realm of heaven and earth. They are doomed to fail. Jian Wushuang smiled. Duan Lang, do you remember how to get to the mystic realm of heaven and earth? Jian Wushuang looked at Duan Lang. Of course I do. Duan Lang nodded. Well, you lead the way. Let's go and meet the people of the Carefree Mansion, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Okay. Duan Lang and you were very excited. They were reluctant when they were chased away by the people of the Carefree Mansion. They were also very angry and aggrieved. Now, when Jian Wushuang's patrol team finally arrived, they naturally wanted to go to the mystic realm of heaven and earth to get back at them. Under the guidance of Duan Lang and Yu, the group directly entered the Amethyst Fog Sea and quickly flew toward the mystic realm of heaven and earth. Before long, they had arrived at the mystic realm of heaven and earth. Jian Wushuang had also sensed the existence of the experts of Carefree Mansion. The Amethyst Fog Sea, which had calmed down a long time ago, became restless again because of the appearance of the secret realm of heaven and earth. A large amount of hazy purple fog filled every corner of the world. In the center of the Amethyst Fog Sea, a complete secret realm of heaven and earth had appeared in front of the world. At this moment, around the secret realm of heaven and earth, many experts from the Xiaoyao Mansion were gathered there, with 2 people in the lead. Damn it! What's going on with this secret realm of heaven and earth? The 6 Principles Masters of the Xiaoyao Mansion attacked at the same time, but they were actually unable to open this secret realm of heaven and earth. A handsome young man wearing a luxurious silver robe secretly gritted his teeth. His expression was also quite unsightly. This secret realm is different from ordinary secret realms. Not only does it have secret realm defensive methods, but most importantly, it is also covered with a layer of special restriction. The level of this restriction is extremely high. Unless there is an expert of the 5th or 6th level of the void, it would be too difficult for us to break this restriction by ourselves. The long-browed elder with narrowed eyes said. Have you asked the person who sent us the message? The handsome young man asked. Yes, I have. According to him, he was only invited by the Peak Saints to lead the way here because he was familiar with the Amethyst Fog Sea. As for the purpose of the Peak Saints, he didn't know. Later, when the secret realm of heaven and earth was born, he thought that the Peak Saints were just lucky. So he sent us the message without thinking too much. The long-browed old man explained in a deep voice. From the looks of it, those Peak Saints shouldn't be that simple. They might have come to the Amethyst Fog Sea to look for opportunities, and they might even have a special token to open this heaven and earth secret realm. Bastard, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have let those people go. The handsome man cursed. Young master, no matter what, those people are from the Temporal Temple. They have already told us their identities. The Temporal Temple knows that they are here. Now that we have forcefully occupied this secret realm, we have already offended the Temporal Temple. If we force those Peak Saints to stay and force or kill them, we will have completely offended the Temporal Temple. There is nothing we can do to let them go, the long-browed elder said. Humph, the temporal temple. The handsome man's eyes were cold. However, when he thought about the difference in strength between the Xiaoyao mansion and the temporal temple, he felt helpless. Without the token, we won't be able to open this heaven and earth secret realm. Doesn't that mean that not only did we come all the way here for nothing, but we've also offended the temporal temple? The handsome man said, "That's right, but it's still too early to say that. After all, the heaven and earth secret realm is still in our hands. Before the experts of the temporal temple arrive, we can think of ways to open the heaven and earth secret realm. For example, we can invite experts above the 5th level of the void realm to open the heaven and earth secret realm by force. Or we can invite master-level experts who are good at restraining arrays. It's also possible to open the heaven and earth secret realm," the long-browed elder said. Many people were still talking about the astonishing achievements of Heavenly Sword Marquis on the Saha Island. He was a super figure who had fought head-on against the Flame Saint Master and the Sorcerer God and severely injured them. A man's life was like the shadow of a tree. Even the Principal's Master could not calm down after hearing the name of Heavenly Sword Marquis. Young Master Xiaoyao, long time no see. Jian Wushuang looked at the handsome man with a teasing smile. That's right, the handsome man was young Master Xiaoyao, the #1 genius of Xiaoyao Mansion and the personal disciple of the Mansion Master of Xiaoyao Mansion. However, hundreds of years had passed, and young Master Xiaoyao was still a saint. He was no longer comparable to Jian Wushuang. "Jian, Heavenly Sword Marquis, what are you doing here?" Master Xiaoyao asked, suppressing the fear in his heart. "What?" Jian Wushuang smiled. "I'm now the 6th inspector of the Temporal Temple. I'm leading the 6th patrol team to fight for the Temporal Temple. Don't you know why I'm leading the patrol team to the Amethyst Fog Sea?" Master Xiaoyao's face was gloomy. Of course, he knew why Jian Wushuang came, but he could not say it right away. "Master Xiaoyao, the secret realm behind you was found by the people of the Temporal Temple. After finding it, your Xiaoyao Mansion immediately sent experts to chase away our people and take the secret realm for yourself. Isn't that a bit too overbearing? Or do you think my Temporal Temple is easy to bully?" Jian Wushuang shouted coldly. Master Xiaoyao's body trembled. Before he could speak, the long-browed elder beside him immediately said, "Mr. Heavenly Marquis, I'm afraid there's a misunderstanding. How dare my Xiaoyao Mansion disrespect the Temporal Temple? You are sure Master of Xiaoyao Mansion, right?" Jian Wushuang glanced at the long-browed elder. "I heard that you are the strongest person in Xiaoyao Mansion besides Marquis Xiaoyao. Your words should be able to represent Xiaoyao Mansion. However, you just said that it was a misunderstanding. Hope you can explain it clearly." "What kind of misunderstanding?" Jian Wushuang had already obtained information about many experts of the Xiaoyao Mansion on his way here because he knew that he was facing the Xiaoyao Mansion. Of course, he also knew about the long-browed elder, Master Shirin. Master Shirin was a very strong expert of the 3rd realm of the void. It was said that his battle strength had reached the peak of the 3rd realm of the void. In the Xiaoyao Mansion, his strength was only slightly weaker than Marquis Xiaoyao. "Mr. Heavenly Marquis, at first, our Xiaoyao Mansion didn't know that those little guys were from your Temporal Temple. Later, although they revealed their identities, they only revealed their movement skills and didn't show anything to prove it. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, you also know that in the Divine Beginning realm, especially in times of crisis, it's common for people to pretend to be disciples of big sections. Our Xiaoyao Mansion has encountered this many times before." Master Shirin said, before he could finish his words. "So, you just chased away the people of the Temporal Temple?" Jian Wushuang looked over. "Mr. Heavenly Marquis, the Amethyst Fog Sea is the territory of our Xiaoyao Mansion. Before we can confirm the identities of these little guys, we have to ensure that the secret realm of heaven and earth is not occupied in advance," Master Shirin said. "Master Shirin, there is indeed a misunderstanding. Now that I have personally shown up and proved that the immortal saints are from our Temporal Temple, you should be able to return the secret realm to us, right?" Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "Return?" Master Shirin was stunned. Jian Wushuang used the word return to express his position. It meant that the secret realm was first discovered by the temporal temple, which meant that it belonged to the temporal temple. The Xiaoyao mansion was only temporarily in charge of the temporal temple. Now that the temporal temple had sent people, the Xiaoyao mansion had to leave immediately? Although this was reasonable, if they were to leave just like that, they would be too unwilling. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, no matter what, the Amethyst Fog Sea is the territory of our Xiaoyao mansion. This is our territory, and our Xiaoyao mansion is one of the top overlords in the second heaven. It's a top force even in the divine beginning realm. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, aren't you going too far by not giving our Xiaoyao mansion face? Master Shi said. Too much? Haha. So what if I'm too much for a mere Xiaoyao mansion? Do you really think that the temporal temple is easy to bully by snatching our things and chasing our people away? Jian Wushuang gave a hearty smile. Then he gave a direct order. Sergeants, listen up. Kill them and take back the secret realm of heaven and earth. Anyone who dares to stop us will be killed without mercy. Kin. Ha. Brothers, kill them. How dare a mere Xiaoyao mansion steal from the temporal temple? They are courting death. The 6th patrol team, 10 principals masters, 100 peak saints, Yu, Duan Lang, and a few others swarmed out after hearing Jian Wushuang's order. They did not give the Xiaoyao mansion any chance at all. Seeing Jian Wushuang's order to attack and the many experts charging at the same time, the people of the Xiaoyao mansion were shocked. Oh no! Master Shi Yin's expression also changed drastically. He looked at Master Xiaoyao and said, Master, step back first. The others, stop them. Boom! As powerful auras rose, the patrol team of the temporal temple and the experts of Xiaoyao mansion immediately engaged in a fierce battle. Sword Heaven Marquis, you are too much. This is the territory of our Xiaoyao mansion. You are not allowed to be presumptuous. Master Shi shouted. As soon as he finished his words, a thick aura rose from his body. It carried the pressure of the peak of the third realm of the void and directly pressed toward Jian Wushuang. Master Shi also rushed toward Jian Wushuang at the first moment. Too far. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. When he saw Master Shi coming toward him, his aura suddenly soared, and he activated his life divine power. At the same time, he also used the heaven-cleaving skill. Jian Wushuang, who had mastered 2 parts of the will, could rival the 3 realms of the void after using his life divine power. Once he used the heaven-cleaving skill, he could reach the level of the 4 realms of the void. It was the peerless sword technique Xiang. Whoosh! A scarlet sword light with extreme violence swept out in an instant. Like a blood-red thunderbolt, it directly crushed toward Master Shi who was rushing toward him. Master Shi took out a huge hammer. The 2 principles of earth and lightning pervaded this huge hammer. Even though they had yet to fuse together, its power was still exceptionally shocking. Hong Long Long. This huge hammer instantly magnified under Master Shi Yin's control. For a moment, it blotted out the sky and blotted out the sun. In an instant, it collided head-on with that blood-red bolt of lightning. Pong! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. At this moment, the entire void trembled. At the same time, numerous spatial cracks that spread over 10 meters spread out crazily like a spider web. So terrifying! The spatial cracks spread over 10 meters. It's too powerful. We have to be careful. We must not be dragged into it. The principal's masters and many immortal saints on the battlefield were all pale and shocked when they saw the crazed space crack. In the center of the space crack, puff! Master Shi spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale and his aura instantly became weak. He was forced back in a sorry state. Took him a long time to regain his balance. Void! The 4th realm of the void? After regaining his balance, Master Shi looked at Jian Wushuang in shock. His heart was in turmoil. How is this possible? The strength that Heavenly Sword Marquis displayed in the battle 400 years ago was not only at the 3rd realm of the void. Although he fought against the master of the Saint Realm, everyone knew that he used a very powerful trump card. But now, he hasn't used any trump cards, and his battle strength has already reached the 4th realm of the void realm. Master Shi did not expect that Jian Wushuang's battle strength had already reached such a level. He had thought that if Jian Wushuang was at the third realm of the Void Realm, he would be able to fight Jian Wushuang head-on or even suppress him, then he could wait for their mansion master to come. But now, Master Shi, get lost. Otherwise, even if you are an expert in the third realm of the Void Realm, you will die here today. Jian Wushuang's cold voice echoed in the world, making Master Shi face even uglier. As a principal's master, he also had an immortal body, so his life-saving ability was stronger than that of the immortal saint. With Master Shi's life-saving ability, it was almost impossible for an ordinary expert in the fourth realm of the Void Realm to kill him. However, Master Shi did not have any confidence in facing Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang was famous for having many trump cards and means. In the battle more than 400 years ago, he had revealed countless trump cards. Now, Jian Wushuang could easily crush him without using his trump cards. Once Jian Wushuang used his trump cards, he might really be able to kill him here. However, if he left just like that, he would not be able to give up the heaven and earth secret realm. And just when Master Shi was in a dilemma, Heavenly Sword Marquis, right? Although you are an inspector of the temporal temple, what you have done today is too disrespectful to our Xiaoyao mansion, right? A deep voice suddenly came from the void not far away. Upon hearing this voice, young Master Xiaoyao, who was standing at the back of the battlefield, was immediately overjoyed. Master Shi also heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders. Whoosh! A 2-meter-tall figure, who seemed to be strolling leisurely in the void, rushed over from the surrounding void and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang in an instant. This person was dressed in a silver tight suit. His long hair was flowing with a hint of silver gray, making him look rather ancient. He carried a 2-meter-long heavy sword on his back. Standing there, he gave off an extremely peculiar feeling. Lord Mansion Master! Master! Upon seeing the man, Master Shi and Master Xiaoyao immediately bowed. Is he Marquis Xiaoyao? Jian Wushuang also looked at the long-haired man. Although the long-haired man was standing there, he gave Jian Wushuang an invisible pressure. I said that Marquis Xiaoyao, the mansion master of Xiaoyao Mansion, became a rule master 20 million years ago. He went to the universe battlefield for a long time and got some opportunities. When he came back, he had the battle strength of the Void Fourth Realm. From then on, he took over the position of mansion master of Xiaoyao Mansion. In terms of strength, he is not the strongest among the experts of the Void Fourth Realm, but he is quite strong. Jian Wushuang recalled the information about Marquis Xiaoyao. Thave to say, this Xiaoyao Marquis is indeed a strong. He rose from now to become an overlord, is completely from the edge of life and death climbed up, not a trace of luck. With the appearance of Marquis Xiaoyao, the battle between the two sides stopped temporarily. The experts on both sides separated and retreated to the side. Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao were still standing in the middle. Everyone's eyes were fixed on them. Everyone's eyes were fixed on them. Didn't expect that you would be alarmed and come to the amethyst fog sea, Marquis Xiaoyao. Jian Wushuang stood in the void with a sword in one hand and looked at Marquis Xiaoyao with interest. It can't be helped. The inspector of the temporal temple and heavenly sword Marquis, who is so famous in the divine beginning realm, have come to the amethyst fog sea. As the mansion master of Xiaoyao Mansion, I have to welcome them personally, Marquis Xiaoyao said calmly. There's no need to welcome them. I'm sure you know about this matter, Marquis Xiaoyao. The secret realm in the amethyst fog sea was discovered by the people of the temporal temple first, so it naturally belongs to us. I hope that the people of Mansion Xiaoyao can give up this secret realm, Jian Wushuang said directly. Heavenly Sword Marquis, the amethyst fog sea has been under the control of our Xiaoyao Mansion all these years. Since this secret realm was born in the amethyst fog sea, it should belong to our Xiaoyao Mansion. The one who should leave and give up this secret realm should be your temporal temple, said Marquis Xiaoyao. What a joke! The territory controlled by your Xiaoyao Mansion is so vast. If you say so, all the cultivators in this vast territory belong to your Xiaoyao Mansion, and all the opportunities are yours. But will the cultivators in this territory agree to it? Jian Wushuang sneered. Marquis Xiaoyao, it takes incredible luck to find a secret realm of heaven and earth hidden in the amethyst fog sea. Your Xiaoyao mansion has occupied the amethyst fog sea for so many years, but you still couldn't find it. This means that your Xiaoyao mansion is not fated with the secret realm of heaven and earth. So, how can you ask for it? You are right. Marquis Xiaoyao nodded slightly. Our Xiaoyao mansion has occupied this amethyst fog sea for so many years, but we haven't been able to find this secret realm. Indeed, we shouldn't force it. However, even if your temporal temple finds the secret realm first, you might not be able to say that this secret realm belongs to your temporal temple. Don't forget, this secret realm was left behind by the former Amethyst demon sect. The Amethyst demon sect was a peak overlord of the second sky a long time ago. Back then, the one who destroyed the Amethyst demon sect and turned the Amethyst fog sea into ruins was one of the three great saint realms, the Flame Saint Realm. After the Flame Saint Realm destroyed the Amethyst demon sect, shouldn't the things left behind by the Amethyst demon sect belong to the Flame Saint Lord? Marquis Xiaoyao laughed coldly. How about I send a message to the Flame Saint Realm and ask them to send experts over to discuss who will get the secret area? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Only his own camp and the Xiaoyao mansion were involved in the fight for the secret area. The temporal temple had the absolute advantage against the Xiaoyao mansion, but if the Flame Saint Realm got involved, it would be completely different. Just as Marquis Xiaoyao had said, it was the Flame Saint Realm that destroyed the Amethyst demon sect. In the end, the ownership of the mystic realm of heaven and earth belonged to the Saint Realm of Flame. Marquis Xiaoyao also saw the change in Jian Wushuang's expression. He immediately smiled and said, Heavenly Sword Marquis, in my opinion, let's sit down and have a good talk. The Xiaoyao mansion doesn't expect to get all the treasures in the mystic realm of heaven and earth, but it's impossible for the temporal temple to monopolize them. You're right. In that case, tell me what you want. Jian Wushuang looked at Marquis Xiaoyao calmly. It's simple. No one has entered the secret realm. No one knows what's in it, but it might be the treasure left by the Amethyst demon sect. No matter what's in it, our Xiaoyao mansion and your temporal temple will share half of it. Marquis Xiaoyao said. 50 to 502. Marquis Xiaoyao, what do you think? If your Xiaoyao mansion was in the Flame Saint Realm, we would be in the same situation since the Amethyst demon sect was destroyed. But your Xiaoyao mansion, how can you say that we are 50 to 50? Jian Wushuang mocked him. Marquis Xiaoyao's eyes darkened. Of course, he knew that it was almost impossible for Xiaoyao mansion to share half of the treasures equally with the temporal temple. He was just hoping to get lucky he could ask for a sky-high price at the beginning. How do you want to distribute the treasures in the secret realm? Marquis Xiaoyao looked at him. It's simple. The temporal temple will take 90% of the treasures in the secret realm, and your Xiaoyao mansion will take 10%. Jian Wushuang said. 10%? Impossible, that's too little. My Xiaoyao mansion will take at least 30%. Marquis Xiaoyao shouted. 30%? Jian Wushuang glanced at Marquis Xiaoyao. He could see that 30% was close to Marquis Xiaoyao's bottom line, but it was not the bottom line. 30% is too much. I'll give you 20% at most, Jian Wushuang said coldly. Marquis Xiaoyao's expression was uncertain, obviously hesitant. Jian Wushuang spoke again. Marquis Xiaoyao, 20% of the opportunity treasures is already a lot. If you don't want to, then there's no way to negotiate. We can only have a falling out. But before we fall out, you have to think carefully about how much power your Xiaoyao mansion has. You don't have any confidence against my temporal temple alone. If you really do as you say and let the Flame Saint Realm come and interfere, then what will happen to your Xiaoyao mansion? I'm afraid you won't be able to get anything out of it. Jian Wushuang's words made Marquis Xiaoyao frown. He was obviously talking about his weakness. He knew very well that Jian Wushuang was willing to talk to him and give him 20% of the opportunity treasures on behalf of the temporal temple. It was not because he was worried about the Xiaoyao mansion, but because he was worried about the Flame Saint Realm. He did not want the Flame Saint Realm to be involved in it. However, the Xiaoyao mansion was nothing in front of the temporal temple, not to mention the Flame Saint Realm. If he were to lose all decorum with Jian Wushuang and let the Flame Saint Realm get involved, then the mystic realm of heaven and earth would really have nothing to do with the Xiaoyao mansion. Jian Wushuang could see that Marquis Xiaoyao's heart was wavering. So he immediately spoke again. Marquis Xiaoyao, I know that you're very famous in the divine beginning realm and that you've grown up to be quite a legend. I admire you very much. I can make the decision on my own to give you 30% of the opportunities and treasures. Huh? Xiaoyao Mansion immediately looked at Jian Wushuang and asked, What do you mean? Eyes simple. I've been cultivating in the Saha Island for more than 400 years and my strength has improved greatly. Now I'm in need of experts to practice with. I'm looking forward to your strength. So I want to fight you head-on. Jian Wushuang smiled. If you can defeat me in this battle, I'll get 30% of the opportunities and treasures for your Xiaoyao Mansion. But if you lose, your Xiaoyao Mansion will only get 20%. Moreover, after opening the secret realm of heaven and earth, the experts of your Xiaoyao Mansion will have to obey the arrangement of my temporal temple. How about it? Are you serious? Can you really get 30% of the opportunities and treasures for my Xiaoyao Mansion? Marquis Xiaoyao stared at Jian Wushuang with bright eyes. Of course, I won't go back on my words. As for whether I can do it or not, you don't have to doubt it. Don't forget that I'm a Saint Realm Inspector of the Temporal Temple. My words carry some weight in the temple, Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. Okay, I'll bet with you. Marquis Xiaoyao agreed directly. In fact, when Jian Wushuang gave him 20% of the opportunity treasure, Marquis Xiaoyao had already wavered. Now, Jian Wushuang gave him a very promising opportunity to fight for 30% of the opportunity treasure. If Marquis Xiaoyao did not agree, it would be too tactless of him. Seeing Marquis Xiaoyao agree, Jian Wushuang immediately smiled. He did not lie. In the past 400 years, his strength had improved a lot, and he really wanted to fight with some real experts. In the camp, although he had defeated Master True Eyes and Master Sure-In, both of them were only in the third realm of the void. It was difficult for him to put pressure on them now. He easily defeated them and did not have a chance to use his full strength, let alone some tricks or trump cards. However, Marquis Xiaoyao was a genuine expert in the fourth realm of the void. He was also a very strong expert in the fourth realm of the void. At the same time, he used a heavy sword as a weapon and specialized in sword principle. Such an expert was what Jian Wushuang yearned to fight. Therefore, he used 10% more treasures as a bet to let Marquis Xiaoyao fight with him. Marquis Xiaoyao, I hope your strength won't disappoint me. Jian Wushuang licked his lips and said with a faint smile. I'll also want to see how powerful you are, as a Saint Realm expert who has made such a great name in the Divine Beginning Realm and is even known as the #1 genius in the history of the Divine Beginning Realm. Marquis Xiaoyao's face was cold. He stared at Jian Wushuang and said, I'm standing right here. Bring it on. As you wish. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate. He moved his body and made his move. The surrounding experts, whether they were the patrol guards or the experts of Xiaoyao Mansion, had already retreated to the side and made way for the huge battlefield. When they saw Jian Wushuang make his move, the experts were also looking forward to it. Who will win the battle between the inspector and Marquis Xiaoyao? Of course, the inspector will win. It is said that Marquis Xiaoyao has reached the fourth void realm a long time ago and has been famous in the divine beginning realm. Although the inspector hasn't been famous for a long time, he is more famous than Marquis Xiaoyao and is very strong. It will be interesting for them to fight. The experts of the patrol team were extremely excited as they watched the battle. Of course, as a member of the patrol team, they thought that Jian Wushuang would win, especially the Immortal Saints. They worshipped Jian Wushuang blindly. No matter who the opponent was, they all thought that Jian Wushuang would win. As for the experts of the Xiaoyao Mansion, their eyes were also burning with passion. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Is he going to fight with the Mansion Master? Master Sure-In had a strange look on his face. Humph, Heavenly Sword Marquis only had the battle strength of a superior saint in the Blood Wave world 400 years ago. Where did he get the courage to challenge Master? Master Xiaoyao snorted in his heart. Obviously, he did not think that Jian Wushuang had the strength to challenge Marquis Xiaoyao. However, no matter what the people around him thought, Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao were already fighting head-on in the center of the battlefield. Previously, Jian Wushuang had been very relaxed when he faced the Master True Eyes and Master Sure-In, and he had kept his strength. But now that he was facing Marquis Xiaoyao, Jian Wushuang did not hold back from the beginning. Once he activated his life divine power and the heaven-cleaving skill, coupled with the power of his two wills, his battle strength reached its peak in an instant. Peerless sword technique, Xianxia. The Blood Mountain sword turned into a blood-red lightning bolt and instantly rushed out. That shocking violent aura rushed into the sky. Wherever the sword light went, space cracked inch by inch. Humph! However, Marquis Xiaoyao only snorted lightly. When the blood-red lightning bolt arrived, the 2-meter-long heavy sword that he had been carrying on his back instantly appeared in his hand. He held the heavy sword with one hand. An endless amount of power surged into the sword. Following that, the broadsword simply swept across. It seemed simple, but the broadsword contained two incomparably violent principles of destruction and lightning. These two laws of power were perfectly fused together, complementing each other, allowing this casual sweep of the sword. Its power was earth-shattering. Hualala, the air was directly swept away. In the middle, it was like a long meteor, colliding head-on with the blood-colored lightning. Bang! With a loud bang, the blood-colored lightning suddenly dimmed, and two extremely violent powers wildly collided. Huala, the surrounding space exploded one after another, and one after another spatial cracks that were dozens of meters long spread out continuously in the battlefield. It was as if the world was splitting apart from the middle. The commotion was incredible. The surrounding experts who were watching the battle could not help but click their tongues when they saw the scene in the middle of the battlefield. They knew very well that the power displayed by Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao far exceeded that of everyone present. This level of power was not something that the people present were qualified to participate in. Finally, with a low rumble, the two powers in the middle of the battlefield finally retreated with the defeat of one of them. The two figures also retreated. Jian Wushuang only staggered back a few steps, while Marquis Xiaoyao retreated a long distance before stopping again. At first glance, it seemed that Jian Wushuang had the upper hand, but in fact, haha, Marquis Xiaoyao, it is said that you have mastered the two brutal principles of thunder and destruction at the same time, and they are fused together. This makes your attack extremely terrifying and violent. Your casual attack has the power to destroy the world. Now it seems that it is true. Jian Wushuang laughed loudly. It echoed in the world. Jian Wushuang was quite surprised. After all, he had just used his most powerful attack, Xianxia, with all his strength. However, Marquis Xiaoyao had only casually swept his sword and was still in a stalemate with him for so long before he was forced to retreat. If Marquis Xiaoyao also used an offensive sword skill, its power would probably be stronger than his. You're not weak either. Marquis Xiaoyao also stared at Jian Wushuang. It's hard to imagine that an immortal saint could have the power equivalent to the 4 void realms. I was careless and suffered a small loss, but it won't happen again. Haha. Let's do it again. Jian Wushuang laughed heartily and moved forward again. At the same time, the Blood Mountain sword in his hand turned into arcs of light hua, 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 hua. One after another, extremely fast sword shadows rushed out. Wushuang Sword Manual. 9th Heaven of Illusionary Sword. Although Marquis Xiaoyao used a heavy sword, his speed was not slow at all. The heavy sword seemed to weigh hundreds of millions of pounds, but it seemed to be weightless in his hand. He waved the heavy sword again and again. He easily blocked all of Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship has completely exploded. Xianxia. Star Dream. Setting Sun. Emperor Blood Kill. Life and Death Moment. Jian Wushuang used the peerless sword manual he had created to its fullest. The violent, swift, and strange sword shadows attacked Jian Wushuang crazily. Not only did he use Jian Wushuang to his fullest, at the same time, he also used his body speed and his understanding of sword principle to its fullest. At this moment, Jian Wushuang's battle strength had reached its peak, leaving aside some of his trump cards and tricks. Each sword skill had its own characteristics. If it were an ordinary expert, it would be difficult to resist it, but against Marquis Xiaoyao. According to the information that Jian Wushuang had obtained, the most terrifying thing about Marquis Xiaoyao was his close combat ability. His close combat ability was too strong. With the combination of offense and defense, coupled with his extremely violent offensive, he could easily defeat the enemy. But now, in the face of Jian Wushuang's endless attacks of swordsmanship, Marquis Xiaoyao was calm and easy to deal with. No matter how tricky Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship was, or how strange it was, Marquis Xiaoyao was able to withstand it. After a fierce battle, although Jian Wushuang had been attacking crazily, he did not gain any advantage from Marquis Xiaoyao. Heavenly Sword Marquis, is this your strongest strength? Marquis Xiaoyao suddenly stopped what he was doing. His eyes were cold as he stared at Jian Wushuang, and a mocking smile appeared on his lips. Although your swordsmanship is indeed very powerful and strange, and in terms of real combat strength, it is indeed difficult for an ordinary expert of the Void Four Realms to defeat you, it is still too early for you to challenge me with such strength. As soon as he finished his words, Marquis Xiaoyao's body suddenly shook. A shocking, destructive aura burst out from his body. At the same time, a large amount of dark purple thunderbolt power surged out from his body. These dark purple thunderbolts even spread directly to the heavy sword in his hand. Kill! Thunderbolt! Swish! A flash of lightning suddenly shot out. It was so fast that even Jian Wushuang could barely see a trace of it. Marquis Xiaoyao was already in front of him, and at the same time, the 2-meter-long heavy sword had been raised high above the heavy sword. The two extremely violent rules of destruction and thunder were perfectly fused together. In an instant, he slashed down with a bang. This sword, Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly darkened. The moment he saw Marquis Xiaoyao's sword, he moved at the same time. Buzz, buzz, a sword light suddenly swung out. In an instant, it stirred up the surrounding space and time, causing the surrounding void to completely turn blood red. The sky was blood red, the ground was blood red, and even the air was filled with a large amount of blood mist. This sword light was also extremely overbearing, easily cutting through space. At the same time, the majestic power of space and time suddenly covered the void in front of them. The Peerless Sword Manual, Blood, Azura, the strongest move of the 7 sword moves of the Peerless Sword Manual, was now displayed in Jian Wushuang's hands. The effect of the space-time stagnation was instantly produced. Marquis Xiaoyao and his extremely violent sword. Both of them were affected by the space-time stagnation, although they managed to break free in the blink of an eye. However, because of this slight impression, the speed and power of Marquis Xiaoyao's violent sword were greatly weakened, giving Jian Wushuang a chance to resist. Bang! The two sword lights finally collided head-on. As soon as they came into contact, Jian Wushuang immediately felt a violent force transmitted from the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. This force shook his divine body, causing him to let out a muffled groan. His body also ire-treated in a sorry state at the first moment. Whoosh! The sword light dissipated and mercilessly shattered the surrounding void, forming a shockwave that spread out in all directions. Jian Wushuang had already steadied himself. He tightened the Blood Mountain sword in his hand and frowned slightly. Marquis Xiaoyao is indeed at the peak of the Void Fourth Realm. He is also a top expert who specializes in close combat. The power of his move just now was too strong. It was not something I could withstand in a head-on collision. Even though I had used Blood Azura at the first moment and slowed down the speed and power of this move still crushed me. Jian Wushuang sighed quietly. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you are very strong, but you are still weaker than me. Marquis Xiaoyao looked at Jian Wushuang. Isn't it too early to say that? I haven't lost yet. Jian Wushuang smiled. Why? Aren't you going to admit defeat? Marquis Xiaoyao's eyes darkened. It's just that you are stronger than me in a head-on fight. In a real fight, victory and defeat are not determined by the power of a head-on fight. Jian Wushuang smiled, but then his body swayed slightly. He disappeared directly in front of Marquis Xiaoyao. This scene caused Marquis Xiaoyao's pupils to constrict. The surrounding experts who were watching the fight looked around blankly. What's going on? Where did the inspector go? I can't find him. I can't even sense his soul? Shadowless escape art. It's the inspector's shadowless escape art. The principal's masters in the patrol team immediately reacted. The shadowless escape art of the Blood Blade Master? Marquis Xiaoyao remained calm. Humph! I knew you had mastered the shadowless escape art, but unfortunately, your shadowless escape art can't be compared to the Blood Blade Master's. It may be no problem to hide it from an ordinary principal's master, but it's a joke to hide it from me. Marquis Xiaoyao's soul power spread out directly. In just a moment, he had already sensed Jian Wushuang's location. Over here! Marquis Xiaoyao transformed into a thunderbolt and immediately appeared in the void where Jian Wushuang was. At the same time, he swung his hand violently. Your sensing ability is not bad. Jian Wushuang's figure also appeared in the void. At the same time, he also swung his Blood Mountain sword. The two collided again, but this time, Marquis Xiaoyao's heavy sword easily passed through the body of the Blood Mountain sword and Jian Wushuang's divine body without any obstruction. What? Marquis Xiaoyao was stunned. Oh no! It's time-space conversion. Marquis Xiaoyao was the first to react. At the same time, he sensed that Jian Wushuang had appeared behind him. Jian Wushuang smiled. He looked at Marquis Xiaoyao, who had his back to him, and gently threw out his Blood Mountain sword. The second move of the Bloody Blade swordsmanship. The first move of heart penetration. So fast! So fast! A trace of shock flashed across Marquis Xiaoyao's eyes. He had already realized that what he had encountered before was just an illusion formed by the space-time conversion. And he had also sensed Jian Wushuang's real location. Logically speaking, with his strength, since he had reacted at the first moment, even if he was in a passive position, he should have been able to barely defend himself. But now, Jian Wushuang's thrust made Marquis Xiaoyao lose the thought of defending. What could he do? This sword move was too fast. The Blood Blade sword art was the strongest assassination sword art created by the Blood Blade master. It was used together with the Shadowless escape art. Jian Wushuang had mastered the Shadowless escape skill to the initial level. He had also mastered the second move of the Bloody Sword skill, which was called Penetrating Heart Form. It was faster and faster than the first move of the Blood Drop skill. Most importantly, the piercing force of the sword skill was even more terrifying. If Jian Wushuang had only used the first move of the Blood Drop skill, he might have been blocked by Marquis Xiaoyao even at such a good time. However, once he used the second move, even Marquis Xiaoyao would not be able to block it. He could only watch as the sword with a terrifying piercing force struck his divine body. Boom! The void shook, and the layer of thunder covering Marquis Xiaoyao's body was instantly penetrated. The defense on his body was also instantly shattered. However, Marquis Xiaoyao was wearing protective armor, which was an extremely high-level supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang's sword attack. It was unable to penetrate the protective armor directly, but a terrifying penetrating power still passed through the armor and into Marquis Xiaoyao's divine body. Humph! Marquis Xiaoyao snorted and his face suddenly darkened. Under the influence of that power, he retreated crazily and only regained his balance after a long time. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you're really good. Marquis Xiaoyao stared at Jian Wushuang with a solemn face and then sighed. I lost this battle. Haha. Thank you for letting me win. Jian Wushuang smiled. The surrounding experts who were watching the battle instantly burst into an uproar. As expected, the patrol inspector won. The patrol inspector is so powerful. It is said that Marquis Xiaoyao is a principal's master with amazing strength and has a great battle record. However, the patrol ambassador still defeated him head-on. Humph, see? I told you that you would win. The sergeants of the patrol team were very happy. But it was the opposite in Xiaoyao Mansion. What happened? Although Master was pushed back just now, it doesn't mean that he has lost. Wasn't Heavenly Sword Marquis also pushed back by Master? Young Master Xiaoyao did not understand, to be exact. He did not believe that his master would be defeated by Jian Wushuang. Master Shireen, who was beside him, secretly shook his head. The Lord Mansion Master has indeed lost this battle. Great Elder. Young Master Xiaoyao looked at him with a frown. Young Master, although the Lord Mansion Master and Jian Wushuang were both pushed back once, the outcome of the battle hasn't been determined yet. However, the Lord Mansion Master has actually done his best in this battle. Under the Lord Mansion Master's best efforts, he could only fight with Heavenly Sword Marquis. Don't forget that the reason why Heavenly Sword Marquis has such an incredible reputation in the Divine Beginning realm is not only because of his own strength, but also his trump cards and means. He has many trump cards and techniques. For example, he has a universe true treasure with shocking power. Once it is used, his power can reach a whole new level. Also, during the battle over 400 years ago, he summoned a terrifying Yimo and forced the Flame Saint Master into a difficult situation. He has too many trump cards and techniques, but now he hasn't used them. Just by relying on his own power, he is already on par with the Palace Master. What do you think will happen if he uses those trump cards and techniques? Master Shireen looked at young Master Xiaoyao. Are you saying that once this heavenly sword marquis uses his trump card, Master will be no match for him? Young Master Xiaoyao was startled. Yes, not only is he no match for him, I'm afraid Lord Mansion Master will have to worry about his own life in the hands of this heavenly sword marquis, Master Shireen said seriously. What? This heavenly sword marquis can threaten Master's life? Young Master Xiaoyao was completely stunned. Don't doubt it. If I'm not wrong, Lord Mansion Master also knows this. That's why he voluntarily admitted defeat and didn't continue fighting with Heavenly Sword Marquis. Once he forces Heavenly Sword Marquis to use his trump card, the outcome would be unimaginable even to Lord Mansion Master. Master Shireen said. It's like this. Young Master Xiaoyao finally understood. But when he knew the cause and effect, he felt even more upset. Because more than 400 years ago in the Bloodwave realm, Jian Wushuang was on the same level as him, and they even fought face to face. But in the blink of an eye, in less than 400 years, his opponent had reached the point where even his master feared him and dared not force him to use his trump card. The gap between them was too big. Jian Wushuang knew why Marquis Xiaoyao had admitted defeat. However, he had already fought with Marquis Xiaoyao and forced him to use all of his strength. The battle was enjoyable, he did not have any regrets, so he did not want to continue fighting. Marquis Xiaoyao, since you have lost this battle, then according to what I said before, no matter what opportunities or treasures there are in the mystic realm of heaven and earth, my temporal temple will take 80% of them, while your Xiaoyao mansion will only take 20%. Moreover, in the secret land of heaven and earth, the experts of your Xiaoyao mansion will have to listen to the arrangement of my temporal temple, Jian Wushuang said seriously. Sure. Marquis Xiaoyao was very straightforward and did not care about anything else. All right, let your people move aside first. Let our people open the secret realm first. Then we will each send a group of experts to enter the secret realm together, Jian Wushuang said. Okay. Marquis Xiaoyao nodded. But at this time Master Shireen walked up. Mansion Master, Mr. Heavenly Marquis. This secret realm is very unique. We've already tried it and even asked several Principals Masters to join hands, but they can't really open it. I wonder if you have any ideas, Mr. Heavenly Marquis. Humph. Do you think this secret realm can be opened as long as a few Principals Masters join hands? Jian Wushuang sneered and then glanced behind him. Duan Lang. Take out the token. Duan Lang immediately stepped forward and handed the token to Jian Wushuang. There really is a token. Master Shireen glanced at the token and sighed. He had guessed that to enter the secret realm of heaven and earth, there should be a token to guide them. Moreover, the token should have been found by the immortal saints who had discovered the secret realm of heaven and earth. But unfortunately, he knew too late. If they had known that Duan Lang and the others had tokens, they would not have let them go so easily. They would have found a way to get the tokens and immediately open the secret realm to enter. By the time Jian Wushuang and the patrol team arrived, the opportunity treasures in the secret realm would have fallen into their hands, and the initiative would be in their hands. Unfortunately, because of the difference of one step, they could only enter the secret land of heaven and earth with the experts of the temporal temple. Even if there were a mountain of treasures and opportunities inside, they could only get 20%. They had to listen to Jian Wushuang's arrangements. The secret realm of heaven and earth is not big. You and I don't need so many experts to enter. Each of us can choose a few people to enter, Jian Wushuang said. That's fine. Besides you, Shireen, and I, there are 4 other Principals Masters in the Xiaoyao mansion. A total of 6 people will enter, Marquis Xiaoyao said. As for the temporal temple, Jian Wushuang hesitated for a moment. Then he ordered, Zhentong, you and Master Si Yi will lead the soldiers to hold back. The other principal's masters will follow me into the secret realm of heaven and earth. Yes. Zhentong and Master Si Yi immediately nodded respectfully. They asked Zhentong and Master Si Yi to hold back in order to prevent any unnecessary changes. As for the secret realm, there might be some dangers, but they should be able to deal with it with their current strength. Duan Lang, Yu. Jian Wushuang looked at them again. You guys found the secret realm of heaven and earth first, so you should be the first to explore it. But for some reasons, you can't go in now. But you can rest assured that if we find the treasures left by the Amethyst Demon Sect in the secret realm of heaven and earth, or if we get a lot of opportunities and treasures, we will give you a portion according to a certain ratio. Okay. Duan Lang nodded. Haha. I hope there really are treasures left by the Amethyst Demon Sect in the secret realm of heaven and earth. Then we will make a fortune. Yu also smiled. They had no objection to Jian Wushuang's decision, and they had long been mentally prepared. This was the way the temporal temple operated. If the experts under them obtained opportunities or treasures with their own power, they would naturally own them. However, if they did not get them by themselves, if they had borrowed the temporal temple's power, then these treasures and fortuitous encounters would definitely belong to the temporal temple. After that, the temporal temple would share a portion of the treasures and fortuitous encounters with these experts according to what they had done. This time, although Duan Lang, Yu, and the others had found this secret realm of heaven and earth, they had carelessly allowed the Xiaoyao mansion to intervene. Thus, they could only let the temporal temple step in. As for the temporal temple, they could only get some opportunities or treasures based on their contributions. As for whether they could enter the heaven and earth secret realm, they did not care too much. As long as they could get a part of it, they would not have to make a wasted trip. After deciding on the experts to enter, Jian Wushuang immediately ordered people to open the heaven and earth secret realm. Previously, without the token, several principals masters of the Xiaoyao mansion could not do anything to the heaven and earth secret realm. But now, because of the token, the temporal temple only sent 3 principals masters. They easily opened the secret realm, and a space passage that could allow several people to enter at the same time appeared in front of them. As soon as the space passage appeared, an extremely ancient aura spread out from it. However, judging from the aura, the secret realm had existed for a long time. It was obviously left behind by the Amethyst Demon Sect. Let's go in. Jian Wushuang led his 8 principals masters, including Sword Dragon Master, and the 6 principals masters led by Marquis Xiaoyao to enter the secret realm almost at the same time. The secret realm had existed since the Amethyst Demon Sect dominated the second heaven. Even though the Amethyst Demon Sect was later destroyed by the Flame Saint Realm, the secret realm was still preserved. It had been quiet for a long time, but today the tranquility of the secret realm was finally broken. Buzz! A burst of light flashed, and more than 10 figures stepped out of the spatial tunnel and appeared in the secret realm of heaven and earth. As soon as they came to the secret realm of heaven and earth, Jian Wushuang and the others immediately looked around. What an ancient aura! Such an ancient aura can only be found when the Amethyst Demon Sect is still in the second heaven. Sword Dragon Master said. Everyone in the Temporal Temple, have you noticed the difference between the secret realm and the Amethyst Fog Sea? Marquis Xiaoyao looked at Jian Wushuang with interest. Yes, I have. The Amethyst Fog Sea used to be the lair of the Amethyst Demon Sect. When the Flame Saint Realm attacked the Amethyst Fog Sea, it turned into ruins. It's still a horrible scene. However, there's no trace of a battle in the Heaven and Earth secret realm. On the contrary, it's very peaceful. The ground and the surrounding mountains are intact. Obviously, the battle didn't affect the Heaven and Earth secret realm, Jian Wushuang said. Not only was it left behind by the Amethyst Demon Sect, but it was not affected by the war at all. This secret realm might be the place where the Amethyst Demon Sect has been hiding the treasures and opportunities. Master Shireen's eyes became extremely hot. It might be the place where the treasures and opportunities are hidden, but the problem now is how to find them. Marquis Xiaoyao smiled faintly and looked at Jian Wushuang again. Heavenly Sword Marquis, how do you think we should find them? This secret realm is not very big. Even if the Amethyst Demon Sect hides the treasures and opportunities in a deep place, we should be able to find them. At most, it will take us a little more time. Marquis Xiaoyao, according to the previous agreement, the experts of your Xiaoyao mansion must always listen to me in this secret realm. Now, I have decided that we should explore this secret realm together and find them slowly. Jian Wushuang said with a smile. In the secret realm of heaven and earth, a group of 15 people from the temporal temple and the Xiaoyao mansion were wandering around. The secret realm of heaven and earth was not big. Soon, Jian Wushuang and the others arrived at its core. There were many palaces and pavilions standing there. These palaces and pavilions were quite majestic, obviously. They were not something that ordinary small sects could have. The treasures left by the Amethyst Demon sect are probably hidden in these palaces and pavilions. Let's take our time to find them. Jian Wushuang smiled, and the group immediately began to search carefully in the palaces and pavilions. Time passed, and more than half a day passed in a flash. They had searched all the palaces and pavilions in the secret realm, but they did not find any treasures. How could it be? Jian Wushuang frowned. Is the treasure not hidden in the palaces and pavilions, but somewhere else in the secret realm? Or is there no treasure opportunity left by the Amethyst Demon sect in the secret realm? Sword Dragon Master said. No, it's too early to tell. Maybe the treasure is hidden here, but it's hidden so well that we didn't find it. Let's search again, Jian Wushuang said. The people of the Xiaoyao mansion, including Marquis Xiaoyao, did not have any objections. Soon, they searched the palace again. This time, they searched more carefully. It could be said that they searched the entire palace, but they still found nothing. It seems that even if there is treasure left by the Amethyst Demon sect in the secret land, it must be hidden very well. If we continue to search like this, it's probably useless. Why don't we spread out and search? Marquis Xiaoyao suggested. Spread out. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and then smiled. Yes, but there's no need to spread out too much. How about this? The experts of the temporal temple and your Marquis Xiaoyao each send a team of 2 to search. That way, even if we find the treasure, we can share it fairly, right? Upon hearing Jian Wushuang's words, Marquis Xiaoyao's expression did not change, but his heart jumped. He actually hoped that the experts from both sides could split up to search for the treasure. In this way, if his people were lucky enough to get the treasure, they could say that they did not get it, and Jian Wushuang would not be able to explore it. They had a chance to take the treasure for themselves. Unfortunately, Jian Wushuang had already seen through his plan, so he said that they would move in pairs. Moreover, both sides would send 1 person each. In terms of the number of people on both sides, the temporal temple would have a few more people. In this way, the temporal temple would have a chance to secretly occupy the treasures they found. After Jian Wushuang made his decision, the experts from both sides quickly began to work in pairs to search the secret land of heaven and earth. As the leader, Jian Wushuang, of course, was with Marquis Xiaoyao. The 2 of them also searched the secret land of heaven and earth. However, even though the group had been divided into several groups and the efficiency of the search was much higher than before, they still could not find anything after searching. Time passed, and soon, Jian Wushuang and the others had entered the secret land of heaven and earth for a day. In a magnificent palace, 2 rule masters stood in the middle and carefully observed the surroundings. One of the 2 principal masters was Master Tianfu from the Temporal Temple, and the other was Master Shui from the Xiaoyao mansion. We've been to this palace several times, but we didn't find anything before. It seems that we can't find anything this time, Master Shui said. Don't be anxious. Keep looking carefully. We can't tell if there are any special mechanisms or formations hidden in this palace. It's just that we haven't activated them yet, Master Tianfu said. Master Shui shrugged and could only continue searching. The 2 of them also kept trying to move the decorative equipment in the palace to see if there were any mechanisms, but unfortunately, there was nothing. The 2 of them could only sigh softly and leave the palace. Just as they walked out of the palace, a gray stream of light suddenly flashed around them. Ha! Master Tianfu narrowed his eyes. Master Shui, did you see a gray light just now? Gray light? What gray light? Master Shui glanced at Master Tianfu. He and Master Tianfu had walked out of the palace at the same time, but he had indeed not seen any gray light just now. That's not right. I clearly saw a gray light flash just now. Although it disappeared very quickly, there was definitely one. Master Tianfu was incomparably certain. You really saw it? Master Shui Yi's expression also moved. Master Tianfu was a dignified principles master. Of course, there was no way he could have seen anything wrong. Since he had seen the gray light just now, there was an 80% chance that he was right. And just as the two of them were extremely puzzled, the gray light lit up once again, and this time, it came directly in front of them. What is this? Master Shui Yi's expression immediately changed. Be careful, Master Tianfu immediately shouted out. Show! That gray light carried an incomparable speed and impact force, instantly enveloping Master Tianfu and Master Shui Yi. The two of them had not even seen clearly what this gray light was. However, a terrifying might had already swept over. Boom! The peaceful heaven and earth secret realm suddenly let out a roar. It was like a sudden clap of thunder on flat ground, instantly exploding. This terrifying roar was accompanied by a shocking might that spread wildly in all directions. At the first moment, it crushed some of the surrounding palaces and pavilions into powder. Even the entire heaven and earth secret realm was on the verge of collapsing under this terrifying might. It's all falling apart. What's wrong? What's going on? What a terrible power. Who is it? Many experts, including Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao, who were searching for treasures and opportunities in the secret land of heaven and earth, were shocked by this terrifying power. One by one, they soared into the sky, appear in the void, all eyes all look to the source of that power. However, when they took a look, they could only see the shocking might and energy that was crazily attacking, as well as the large waves of air that were stirred up by the might. They could not see anything else clearly. After a while, the might gradually depleted. Only then did they see the void clearly. They could see that the void, including the land, had already become a piece of trash. A huge pit appeared in everyone's line of sight, and under the pit, one of Master Tianfu and Master Shui Yi stood there trembling. The other had already half knelt down. Both of their faces were pale, and their auras were completely dispirited. There was still blood spewing from their mouths under their feet. This scene caused everyone's pupils to constrict. Master Tianfu, Shui Yi, the experts of the Temporal Temple and Xiaoyao Mansion immediately rushed toward the pit at their fastest speed. In the blink of an eye, they had already appeared in front of Master Tianfu and Master Shui Yi. Shui Yi, what's going on? Marquis Xiaoyao asked with a frown. I don't know, Master Shui Yi said with a trace of fear. You don't know? Marquis Xiaoyao could not help being stunned. Asa Principal's master, he was injured to such an extent, but Master Shui Yi did not know what had happened? Master Tianfu. Jian Wushuang looked at Master Tianfu. In terms of strength, Master Tianfu had already reached the peak of the Void Second Realm, which was slightly stronger than Master Shui Yi. It's a gray streamer, Master Tianfu said in a low voice. A gray streamer? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Master Shui Yi and I were searching in a palace, but we didn't find any trace of it. When we walked out of the palace, I immediately saw a gray streamer flash around us. I was already alert at that time, but then the gray streamer appeared again and directly rushed toward us. You've all seen what happened next, Master Tianfu said. Jian Wushuang's expression immediately turned grave when he heard Master Tianfu's words. In other words, you didn't see clearly what the gray light was? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, Master Tianfu nodded. I could barely see that the flowing light was a light shadow, but I couldn't see clearly what the time was. How could an expert at the peak of the second void realm be injured so badly before he could even see his opponent? Marquis Xiaoyao's face darkened, and he looked at Jian Wushuang. It seems that the secret realm is not as simple as we thought. Well, I thought that the secret realm was just a place for the amethyst demon sect to hide treasures. But now it seems that there is a high chance that it is a place for treasures. However, there must be a lot of dangers in this place. For example, the gray shadow just now might be a method left behind by the amethyst demon sect to guard the treasure. It might be a special puppet fighter or a sect guarding exotic beast, Jian Wushuang said. The first thing Jian Wushuang thought of when he heard about the gray shadow was puppet fighters or exotic beasts, but he did not think of human cultivators. After all, the secret realm of heaven and earth had existed for a long time. The secret realm of heaven and earth had not been opened for a long time. If a human cultivator was really in the secret realm of heaven and earth, he would not have been alone for so many years. Heavenly Sword Marquis, what should we do next? Do we continue to search? Marquis Xiaoyao asked. Yes, of course. Jian Wushuang smiled. We didn't find any trace of treasure after searching. I almost thought that this secret realm might not be the treasure place of the Amethyst Demon sect, but just an ordinary secret realm. But because of the appearance of this gray shadow, I think this secret realm is not simple. Right now, I am almost certain that the secret realm of heaven and earth has something left behind by the Amethyst Demon sect. Since there is a treasure, of course, we have to continue searching. Just like before, we will continue searching in pairs. However, when we are searching, we have to be careful. We have to be wary of the gray figure's attack. Also, Marquis Xiaoyao, there is no need for us to continue searching. We will stay in the central area of this building complex and observe the surrounding movements. Once we see the gray figure appear again, we will immediately take action. Okay. Marquis Xiaoyao nodded heavily. He was now certain that the secret realm of heaven and earth was the treasure place of the Amethyst Demon sect. Jian Wushuang's arrangement was very reasonable. He asked the others to continue searching for the treasure in the complex. As the strongest, the two of them stood in the center of the complex to deal with the possible changes. Once the gray figure appeared again, they would be able to detect it immediately. Immediately, the principal's masters of both sides continued to search carefully in the surrounding buildings. Because of their serious injuries and the sharp decline in their strength, Master Tianfu and Master Shui did not continue searching. Instead, they stayed with Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao and kept an eye on the situation around them. An hour later, in the void not far away from Jian Wushuang, the gray streamer appeared again without any warning. Although the gray streamer appeared very suddenly, Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao noticed it immediately. It's there. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with a fierce light as he instantly locked onto the gray streamer. However, the gray flowing light under his gaze was too fast. It was so fast that Jian Wushuang did not even have time to give any warning. The gray flowing light was no longer hindered in the slightest as it directly charged toward the two principal's masters who were searching around. The strength of the two principal's masters was relatively average, even though the two of them had been on guard against the gray flowing light because of the lessons they had learned from Master Tianfu and Master Shui. They still did not manage to block it in time. Boom! Another earth-shaking, terrifying boom swept across the area. When Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao entered the area, the gray flowing light had already disappeared, and the two principal's masters who had been hit by the flowing light had also been severely injured. Damn it! Looking at the two principal's masters who seemed to be even more miserable than Master Tianfu and Master Shui, Jian Wushuang's face turned very ugly. It's too fast. The gray flowing light just now was too fast. It was so fast that even you and I didn't have time to react. What's more, we still couldn't see clearly what it was. Marquis Xiaoyao also said in a low voice. Yes, although the two of them had noticed the appearance of the gray flowing light and looked over immediately, they still could not figure out what it was. They still did not know what the gray light shadow was. The gray light is hidden too well. It's hiding right beside us, but we can't find it at all. Even the principal's masters, who are best at soul perception, can't seem to catch the existence of the gray light, Marquis Xiaoyao said seriously. It's really troublesome. If we want to continue searching for the treasure, we must find a way to find the gray light first. Otherwise, if we let it be around us, our principal's masters will be too dangerous. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao were not afraid of the gray light shadow. After all, they were powerful, so the gray light shadow should not be able to threaten them. However, most of the principal's masters under them were only in the second realm of the void. They could not face the gray light shadow. For principal's masters had been seriously injured. If they let the gray light shadow continue, more principal's masters would be injured. The gray light shadow was too fast and did not have any aura or power. We could not sense its existence. It was just like the shadowless escape art you mastered. Marquis Xiaoyao said. Shadowless escape skill? Jian Wushuang was stunned, but then he nodded secretly. Indeed, his shadowless escape skill was hidden in the surrounding void and could hide from the soul detection of the cultivators. But because his mastery of the shadowless escape skill was only in the profound realm, therefore, he couldn't hide it from Marquis Xiaoyao, who had already reached the peak of the fourth realm of the void. But the gray shadow could even hide from Marquis Xiaoyao. It was hidden in the secret realm of heaven and earth, but no one knew where it was. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you have mastered the shadowless escape technique, so you should know more about this concealment method. Do you have a way to find the gray light shadow now? Marquis Xiaoyao asked. TM not sure, but I can try. Jian Wushuang focused his eyes, and a large amount of the power of space-time principles had gathered in his body. In the blink of an eye, the power of space-time principles gathered in his body had reached an astonishing level. Space-time principles? Marquis Xiaoyao looked at him in surprise. To find the gray figure, you should find a way to improve your soul perception. What use can you use the space-time principles now? Just watch. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. Then he stretched out his right hand and made a strange cut in the void in front of him. One finger drawing the sky, space-time prison. Buzz. With that simple stroke, the power of the space-time principles gathered in Jian Wushuang's body suddenly surged up and swept out in all directions like a wave. In just a moment, it covered the entire secret realm of heaven and earth. This is, when Marquis Xiaoyao saw the power of the space-time principles around him, his pupils suddenly shrank. Space-time imprisonment. This is space-time imprisonment. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you have mastered space-time imprisonment? How is that possible? When I fought with you, your application of space-time principles clearly did not reach this level. Marquis Xiaoyao looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. Haha, Marquis Xiaoyao. There are many things you don't know. Jian Wushuang smiled. His application of space-time principles indeed did not reach the level of space-time imprisonment. It was still at the level of space-time conversion. Under normal circumstances, he could not use space-time imprisonment. However, Jian Wushuang could use the power of the treasure even though he could not use it by himself. For example, he was using the golden sky painting flag given to him by the temporal temple master. The golden sky painting flag was a top-notch treasure in space-time. It could be very useful in the hands of experts who were proficient in space-time principles. For example, back on Saha Island, Green Rock Master had used the golden sky painting flag to cast time and space imprisonment, which prevented many powerful principles masters in the temporal temple from breaking it. Although Jian Wushuang could not use the principles of time and space as well as Green Rock Master, he could still use the golden sky painting flag to perform some tricks, especially since the golden sky painting flag had some secret skills. Jian Wushuang had mastered the simplest of them, the space-time prison, and he had already performed it. Although I don't know why you can use the space-time imprisonment, what we need to do now is to find the gray shadow. If you completely imprison the space-time, you can only trap it in the space-time, but you still can't find it. Marquis Xiaoyao frowned and said, if it's just an ordinary space-time lock, it can only trap people. However, my space-time prison is different. Not only does it have the effect of space-time lock, but it also has a great space-time domain. In other words, this space-time will definitely be under my control. My space-time power can sweep through every space-time wantonly. No matter how deep it is hidden, I can find it. Jian Wushuang smiled. Wait a moment. I'm already looking for him. Upon hearing this, Marquis Xiaoyao's heart was in turmoil. This heavenly sword Marquis really has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Marquis Xiaoyao looked at Jian Wushuang with a meaningful look. He knew that Jian Wushuang had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, so he chose not to continue fighting with Jian Wushuang. Instead, he chose to admit defeat. He had made a wise choice at that time. After all, Jian Wushuang did not show any tricks in that battle, like in the space-time prison. I found it! Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly lit up, and a smile appeared on his face. You really hit it well. Unfortunately, no matter how well you hit it, you can't escape from this space-time. Marquis Xiaoyao, follow me. Jian Wushuang shouted in a low voice, but his figure instantly shot out. Naturally, Marquis Xiaoyao immediately followed Jian Wushuang. Swish! Swish! Two figures flashed at the same time, but in an instant, they appeared in front of an empty void. Here! Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with a fierce light. The Blood Mountain sword behind him had already been drawn, and a brutal sword essence, with shocking power, instantly slashed toward the empty void. As for Marquis Xiaoyao, although he did not see anything strange in the void in front of him, he followed Jian Wushuang and also pressed forward with his heavy sword. The two sword shadows slashed toward the empty void almost at the same time. At first, there was indeed nothing in the void, but just as the two sword shadows were about to fall, a strange gray light suddenly appeared. Then the gray light flashed and instantly collided with the two sword shadows. Clang! Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao retreated almost at the same time. They pushed me and Marquis Xiaoyao back at the same time? Jian Wushuang was quite surprised as he retreated. After a while, he and Marquis Xiaoyao regained their balance, and their eyes immediately looked at the void in front of them. Jian Wushuang had also sensed that after fighting with him and Marquis Xiaoyao, the gray shadow did not choose to hide again. Instead, it stood in the void.